Paul was asked if the bye was a momentum killer.
It's never a bad time to rest and rejuvenate, and I think it gives you some perspective. Let's say you go home and see your family. It's more motivation. It's your why, and that's really important in the sport, is to know why you're doing it.
The Saints have just 2 wins on the season. But Tua says there are still things to look out for on the Saints' defense.
Having a lot of veterans, having guys that have seen a lot of football, that have played a lot of football. You got guys that have played together for some time as well. They know how to operate. They kind of know, okay, if I go here, I know I'm going to trust that you're going to be there. And I think the camaraderie that they have defensively is what makes them successful in, trying to minimize as much points as they can from their opposing team's offense.
And away we go. The Dolphins play the Saints. We're here to tell you how the Fins could win on Gameday, Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans, with Tobin and Solana, Omar Kelly and Chris Perkins, on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami sports leader.
Gameday Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM is brought to you by the Lexus TX. Room for all your passions in 3 rows of luxurious comfort. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. By Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet. When it comes to scoring a rugged new truck, Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet is the MVP of selection. Visit EdmoreSawgrassChevrolet.com and start shopping today. Remember, you're always backed by Morse. And by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business. A 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate.
All right, and good morning, everybody, and welcome on into another edition of Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. How you feeling, Solani? You feel refreshed? You feel like you just had a bye week?
Why not us, Tobin?
What?
Why not us? Why not? I mean, let's do it. Let's go.
You're talking about like
games,
like a playoff run?
Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling refreshed. Why not us? Let's kick the Saints' ass today. Then let's kick the Jets' ass. Then let's kick Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers' ass. And then you're 500. And then who knows? You get the Bengals. I mean, Joe Burrow. Okay. All right. Nice little win against Lamar Jackson. You win that game.
Just walked it off the bench, just killing it on Thanksgiving.
And then, maybe the Patriots have the number 1 overall seed locked up. So the final game of the season is in your hands. The Bucks. I mean, come on. Baker Mayfield's injured. They're banged up. They don't look good anymore. Why not us, Tobin? Let's go.
You saw the last game, though, right? Like, it wasn't super impressive the way they played.
Yeah, that's a fair point, but that was 2 weeks ago. Come on.
It just doesn't matter.
You're as healthy as you've been. I mean, this has all the makings of the Miami Dolphins.
It has all the makings?
No, it doesn't have.
It has some ingredients. I'll give you that. Like, I don't know if it has all the makings.
I want to be optimistic. This has all the makings of the Dolphins giving us hope, only to let us down at the very end of the season, does it not? Like, this is perfect Dolphins. It feels like it's going to be the most Dolphins season that it's ever Dolphin before. But the schedule does work out in your favor right now, Tobin. At the very least, it looks like it works out in your favor.
Schedule works out in your favor. You're getting some reinforcements today. You're going to get Darren Waller back, who... I mean, was really, really good. We all were like, that's not going to work out. And he was really good. Then he got hurt. So now if he can give you like a little end of season run here, not get injured again, hey, you got yourself another weapon right next to Jalen Waddle. I think that actually feels like a legit thing. And then I don't know what to make of getting Austin Jackson back. I don't know what, if that's because it did feel like at least the offensive line was starting to come together. Not that I'm like the head of the Larry Borum fan club or whatever, but they did have a cohesion that was working, and I have no idea whether or not Austin Jackson is going to be good to go.
Yeah, but like you had this stretch where you had to bring in Daniel Brunskill to be the 6th offensive lineman, and like you've just been doing this thing where you're getting by. I want to see this team whole, Tobin. You bet on not bet, but your prediction going into that Colts game, week 1, was the offensive line will play 14 games healthy together, and you got 3 snaps.
Yep.
You got 3 snaps. Not 14 games, 3 snaps. give me the offensive line healthy for the final 6 or 5 games of the season. Just give me that, because I want it. Is Austin Jackson going to play next year? Like, is Austin Jackson somebody you can rely on? Was this just really bad luck for AJ? Like, I want to know, because right now my gut feeling would tell me they're done with Austin Jackson.
Yeah, I it's hard to say. I don't know. I mean, everybody, speaks about, what a talented player is, and I don't think you doubt that, because he was a first round pick, and the way that run game went in the toilet last year when he got hurt. But, now this year you're starting to get things going. You obviously have an elite running back in Devon Achane. So, I think he'll be able to, I think he'll be okay. I would imagine, like, you're not going to bring him back if you don't feel like he could do the job. But yeah, certainly all the injuries that he's had over his career, which has kind of been the staple of the Chris Greer era, now finally behind us, it's a concern. There's no doubt about it. And so there is a lot of proving for him to do in these upcoming games.
You mentioned Devon Achane, Tobin. A Sunday without Devon Achane was just incomplete for me.
Really?
Just incomplete. I miss Devon Achane.
I miss him too.
Yeah.
I miss him too. He's been playing lights out. It has felt, I don't know if it's because there's been so much football in the in-between with Thanksgiving or whatnot. This has felt like a very long time without, we had the last game end early. So it has felt even, longer than a typical bye week almost. So I get it. Everyone's yearning for it. You got this opportunity to be in your building. I would like to see them go out and throttle the Saints, Solana. I don't know if that's necessarily in the cards for them, because the Saints got a lot of pros on defense. Their defense is not bad. They got a rookie quarterback. So that's where you're going to hope you can take advantage, and, maybe some of their defenders can put them in bad positions. But I would like to see a fairly dominant performance to make me believe a little bit more, because I didn't feel like the last game inspired a ton of confidence to have this run like you're talking about.
No, it did not. I think, if you do feel confident about the Dolphins ending this season very strongly, it comes down to the fact that you're as healthy as you've been. I think that's what it comes down to. But yeah, I mean, how could that game inspire any confidence? And then, you look at this Saints team, their only 2 wins have come against some of the worst teams in the NFL. The New York Giants was their first win of the season, and that was with Spencer Rattler. Tyler Shuck beat the Carolina Panthers 17-7. What's funny about that is the Panthers, I call them one of the worst teams in the NFL. They're sitting at 6-6, and they kicked the Dolphins' ass. So
respectable Panthers. Put some respect on their name. They're a very respectable team.
The respectable Panthers. So yeah, I don't know what to make of this type of matchup. I know that Alvin Kamara is not going to play, and that's, a big loss for them. I saw Adam Schefter at 4:30 in the morning tweeted, like, what the hell is Shefty doing up at 4:30 in the morning, Tobin? But that Chris Olave is questionable, so but that they expect him to play. So that kind of makes me a little nervous, but like the Dolphins should handle this game fairly easily. Like, if they're genuinely a team who can compete for a playoff spot, who aren't just going to be in the hunt graphics, but actually put themselves in a position to maybe make some noise down the stretch of the season, they win this game comfortably.
I agree with you. I especially the fact that it's at home. Like, if it was in New Orleans and you were in the Superdome and you got all the vibes that go on there, okay, I could even know elements withstanding. I feel like I could buy into, all right, they get caught napping off the bye week. I feel like if you're in your building, probably the least hostile home environment they've had in a while, because I don't imagine there's going to be a ton of Saints fans who travel to this game like there are for Bills games or Ravens games. I'm not saying none. Dan, I mean, I don't know if your mic works or not. I don't know if it's none, but I feel like this will be the least hostile environment the Dolphins. And what I also mean by that is I don't feel like there's calling for jobs right now. I don't feel like there's calling for benchings right now. Everyone's just kind of coming off of it's the holiday spirit. It feels like that building could have the best vibes that it has of the season. So don't disappoint that. Don't waste that opportunity here with your home fans. I think looking to be, in a good mood. Everybody's home for the holidays. Families are together. Kids are back from college. maybe you go to a Dolphins game. This would be a great chance for them to inspire a little bit, to talk about what you talked about to open up the show.
I hope so. I mean, I hope that's the case. Yeah, I don't think there'll be a large Saints presence. Not that the Saints don't travel well, but I don't know. I mean, this isn't exactly the season where Saints fans are shelling out a bunch of cash to go watch their team on the road in Miami. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Tobin, you've got perfect conditions today. It's a beautiful sunny morning in Miami. Is it not over there, Dan? Because where I'm at in Kendall, it's gorgeous. Like, there's not a cloud in the sky.
Rain. It's pouring down rain. It's been raining for the past 3 or 4 days, bro. It might clear up, but it is nasty right now.
Raining for the past 3 or 4 days. Well,
yes, sir.
Different South Floridas, bro. Like, yesterday it rained a little bit, but 3 or 4 days, it's been beautiful.
I think some pockets it got bad all over. It didn't rain by me, but I know in other places I think it did get bad. You know how this place can be. You could be fine. It could be sunny in Kendall and Miami Gardens. It's
no, for sure. I should have checked the Miami Gardens.
It's coming down.
Gardens. Whatever. Either way, you got a home game today. You got the Saints. They've won 2 games, man. They've won 2 games, and you're coming off your bye week. You've had a lot of time to prepare for one of the worst teams in the NFL, a team that's trying to lose. You got to handle business today.
Yeah, I think especially I would love to see a defense that looks like it's rounding into form make Shuck look like a rookie. You know, make him go out there, even though I think he's 100 years old. You go and you make him you make him look young. You shake him up a little bit, and I think that would be ideal for this Dolphins team. So we'll get into all of it. We'll dive all over the place. Chris Perkins, he's going to join us from the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Of course, Omar Kelly from the Miami Herald will join us as well. We will take a break here on Game Day Uncensored. We'll take a little look back at the Dolphins' last win that sets them up for whatever the hell this end of the season is going to be when we come back on Game Day Uncensored after this.
WQAM broadcasting live from the Ed Moore Sawgrass Auto Mall.
Uncensored. The pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
And welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day, Uncensored here, which is brought to you by the Lexus December to Remember sales event. Get offers on select models for a limited time in this holiday season, as the Miami Dolphins are getting set to take on the New Orleans Saints today from Hard Rock Stadium. As the Miami Dolphins coming off the bye week, they got a win over the Commanders 16-13 in overtime. A really just I don't really even know how to describe that game, Solana. It was crazy, especially the ending of it. It just felt like neither team wanted to win. Each of these coaches was just trying to be so chic with no, I don't want to go for the field goal. I don't no. I don't want no, you go for the touchdown. No, you go for the touchdown. It was an insane. I feel like a game that was really defined by the ending of it. But all in all, the Dolphins get a huge interception by Jack Jones in overtime, and they get the win. You know, for this international game in Spain. But it was a crazy ending with that game. I'm still left flummoxed by what happened.
Yeah, I couldn't believe, the Dolphins don't kick a field goal. They go for it on 4th and 1 at the 1 yard line. Shocker, they don't get in. Before we even get into that, Tobin, I mean, think about what we were talking about that morning about that game. Hey, Dolphins can put themselves in a position here against an ailing defense, a defense that is without a ton of different pieces, a defense that for 5 straight weeks, I believe the stat was, had given up 20 points or more. A defense that for 4 straight weeks, I believe, had given up 40 points or more. Like, this was a Commanders defense that, I mean, they stunk for the better part of a month, and the Dolphins couldn't move the football against them outside of Devon Achane running the ball. So, that's concerning because, it was tongue-in-cheek when we open up the show. I'm talking about why not us? And look, like, there is this path, but you have to figure out what can you do consistently. And in that game, I thought it was a perfect opportunity for Tua to come out and follow up an okay performance against Buffalo, for the offensive line to look consistent, and for the offense to get Waddle involved, keep moving the ball on the ground, and just keep doing the things that had been working. I mean, you saw it in that first half against Buffalo. It clicked. And then to come out and just look like a shell of that team and just be bad overall for a couple quarters against the Commanders. It was rough. It was pretty brutal.
I had people texting me as that game was ending, and because everybody just couldn't believe. Everybody was watching the game pretty much because it's like the right before football gets going. So maybe instead of pregame, you got the game on, and people who are like not even Dolphin fans are texting me, being like, "Is McDaniel going to get fired for these decisions?" And I was like, I genuinely didn't know the answer to that, because I would have thought no. Like, he feels like he's leapt every piece of danger, but maybe. I mean, like, if they would have ended up losing that game, if the Commanders make that field goal, which their old play calling was terrible. I don't really understand why they started chucking it with a 57-yarder in hand. Like, you would have felt like you wanted to set yourself up with a better shot. But whatever, if they do end up hitting that, because we are seeing crazy kicks left and right, I don't know if that would have been enough to get him fired, but I didn't understand it. I mean, I guess both of those coaches probably felt to themselves like, are we really going to drag this out for overtime with how our seasons are going? I'm sure there was some level of that, but it also feels like teams are getting into this spot because kickers are getting so good and the dynamic kickoff that 3 points almost doesn't feel like worth it to anybody. But I have so many cases of teams melting down or mistakes happening or defenses being able to bring a little bit more heat on ending drives. I just don't understand this whole thing when you're not that good a team and you're not putting up points left and right, why you're just leaving that stuff, especially at the end of games. I get it at certain points. Like they did it earlier in the game. The Dolphins had been perfect in goal-to-go situations. So I'm like, okay, there's times where I'll get it, but just taking a lead, especially when you were gifted an extra possession because of the muffed punt, it was just weird to me.
Very weird. By the way, the Commanders cut Matt Gay after that game. I don't know if you noticed, if you saw that, Tobin. They cut him after he missed those 2 field goals.
Tough life.
They signed Jake Moody, which is really funny. But I think what bothers me is because I saw a lot of people say this. Oh, the Dolphins have been really good this year in goal to go or short yardage situation. And that might be true. That's something that they have, to be fair, improved this season.
They were perfect. They were perfect going into that game.
Right. So, but they're still not a good team at that. And what I mean by that is I know the sample size this year points to them at being better, but I know that the sample size as a whole in the Mike McDaniel era, and it's the worst in the NFL coming into this season. And there, you're in a situation where, I mean, they run behind Patrick Paul, and who's next to Patrick Paul? The least reliable offensive lineman you have. Like, those are the things I don't understand. If you're going to go for it on that instance, give me something. Give me some movement. Give me a play that inspires confidence. They pretty much just said, hey, our 5 guys up front are going to beat your 5 guys up front for the game. And unfortunately, I don't trust our 5 guys up front to beat any 5 guys on the opposing team in that situation. I just don't. You have a chance to get points, take the lead, and then force Marcus Mariota to make a couple big throws to beat you. Like, I like your odds there better. Tobin, to answer your question, would Mike McDaniel have been fired after that had Matt Gay hit that 50-plus yard field goal or whatever it was, 60-plus yard field goal? Probably not. But that's the problem. Like there's no consequences for dumb decisions. That to me was not a gutsy decision. I like his gutsy decisions. I like thinking outside the box. I like going for it in certain situations. I like that stuff. I like that quirky offensive mind stuff. That to me was not quirky. That to me was not aggressive. That to me was not, hey, I've got more balls than the other head coach on the other sideline. That was just dumb.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm still flummoxed by it. Weeks later, and I'm going to be curious if it happens again today, if they are in a dogfight with the Saints, which I can't rule out, by the way. I'm not going to sit here and just chalk it up that the Dolphins are going to go out there and steamroll somebody. Unless that team yaks all over itself, that like a la the Bills game. If it's a straight up game, it'll probably end up being closer than we think. And so if we're in those situations, I am curious to see how he goes about this, especially, in that building and whatnot. But it was weird. The one thing I do want to say is on the positive side of things, outside of Mike McDaniel's mind-numbing decisions, Jordan Brooks continues to just be an absolute Tasmanian devil out there when it comes to playing linebacker. 20 tackles. He's just everywhere. I mean, this guy is just been such a leader, so inspiring, even with the season not being great. He got that damn Papa shot out of there because these kids don't know how to focus on football. And so you know what he did? He's just like, hey, guess what? No more basketball, dum-dums. I'm taking it away.
He's the only serious person in that entire locker room, Tobin. I keep saying that. He's the only serious person, literally, in a locker room filled with people led by, Mike McDaniel, who just is the least serious of them all. He's the only one that comes for business, just total seriousness. If you're looking for the 2 most reliable, consistent players on the team this season, there really is no debate, right? It's Devon Achane on the offensive side of the football, and then it's Jordan Brooks. When I say consistent, I mean consistently good. There's consistently bad on both sides of the football, but consistently good. Jordan Brooks, Devon Achane. I hope Jordan Brooks ends up making a Pro Bowl. I feel good about Devon Achane making the Pro Bowl. I hope Jordan Brooks does as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a playmaker this year. Sometimes you look at those linebackers and interior linebackers and you're like, he's just getting tackles. No, like this guy feels like he's blowing up plays every game. He's just so instinctual. And what a leader he's been for them on that defensive side this year, and a defensive unit that kind of needed somebody to hold it together with how much development was going to happen with those young guys. And now we are hitting a spot where that does feel a little bit more reliable than it did earlier in the year. That defensive side of the football, the push that they get up front, especially from the young guys, is starting to come together. Zach Sealer's starting to look more like himself. So that is, I think, one of the things where you're like, all right, as this season has worn on and you're going game by game, I think that feels like a unit you trust a little bit more. The offense, I mean, you mentioned it. It's a little bit more. It's Achane or bust. I don't feel like, and I think that'd probably be a good thing to check out today is, can we get a Tua game that feels like he's really putting the fear in the defense anymore? Because I can't really blame McDaniel for going this way, but it really has. They've gone more the way of just running the football. If he's got to make a play, they'll let him make a play, but they're not really putting the game into his hands anymore.
What you've ran for just under 600 yards over the past 4 games. That's the best stretch of any 4 games this season for the Dolphins. I believe the number is 594 to be exact. So, yeah, I mean, that's what's working. They're winning these games, Tobin. I don't want to say in spite of Tua, but like you're not getting elite quarterback play right now. And that might be by design. Like they're not putting the ball in his hands and saying, go win us the football game. They're just asking Tua to be more of a conservative.
Yeah, don't blow it.
Yeah.
Don't blow it, Tua.
Well said. That sucks, though. That sucks because you kind of thought this year you'd be getting a guy who led the league in passing a couple seasons ago and is the most accurate quarterback and yada, yada, yada. And now it's like, don't blow it. And that stinks. It's not a good feeling.
It's not a great feeling. I do hope, I don't know what the fair expectations of having Darren Waller back today, but I do hope that opens it up a little bit more for him because he did seem to have an instant connection with Darren Waller, like right off the bat. And so we saw how much he liked having Jonnu Smith as a safety blanket last year. And, a guy with a big catch radius put all over the place. Tua hasn't been as pinpoint as he has been in past years. So I'm hopeful that gets him going a little bit more, have some more confident places to go than just Devon Achane. But yeah, no, it's no doubt, Solana. Like this is, and look, rightfully so. He started the year terribly. He's been a time bomb with his turnovers, and Devon Achane has been amazing. So it's not that I don't understand why Mike McDaniel has gone this direction, but yeah, when you look upon a guy and he's supposed to be your franchise guy and you're trying to protect him away from making critical mistakes, it's definitely noticeable this year.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, they're kind of winning in spite of him. His numbers haven't been impressive, and I don't think it's fair to say that he's not playing decent, Tobin. Like there's throws that he's making that you're like, okay, like he's still that guy, right? He's still got a little bit of that in him, but man, Tua is the least mobile we've seen in his career, right? I mean, it's not even a question anymore. Physically, he's the least mobile we've seen. His arm strength is still like just not that impressive. Not that it ever was, but it's worse than it ever was. And like he makes some decisions still where you don't know if it's a mental thing where you're like, man, is he afraid to get hit? Or he knows his own limitations and he knows he can't do a certain thing. So he's just getting out of it by making like a risky throw or just throwing the ball into the dirt when he should try to use his feet. Like those are just things that are obvious to anybody watching him.
Yeah, I definitely think that is. I think it's all yes. Like I don't think any of them are limited to this is the one specific thing. I think he's even revealed that. Like all of that stuff is going through his head of that. I don't physically feel the same. The injuries are taking a toll. I also have to protect myself because anytime I get a head ding, I'm out for at least a month. I think all of that stuff plays in. And like, look. There's quarterback durability issues all over the league. You're seeing a ton of teams get banged up. Aaron Rodgers got a fractured hand. Joe Burrow just came back. Lamar Jackson's been messed up with a hamstring. So it's one of these things where now we have the year where the Dolphins are actually getting a full season of Tua, but what version are they getting? Not that anybody on their roster would necessarily do a better job than him, but if they are going to make some kind of a miracle run here, part of it you would like to be inspired that, hey, this is a big reason for it, that it's not all just Devon Achane and the defense, that, he's starting to find his groove in some ways. So today will be a good test of that for sure. Game Day Uncensored is brought to you by Edmore Sawgrass Automall. Shop massive savings on massive Chevy inventory, all backed by Morse at Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet. Visit EdmoreSawgrassChevrolet.com. Chevy, find new roads. We'll take a break here on Game Day Uncensored. More to come. Back after this.
Time now for more Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 1043 WQAM.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on FM 1043 WQAM. Dolphins and Saints going to square off today at Hard Rock Stadium at 1 o'clock, back in the friendly confines of the Rock. And Dolphins going into this game will be monitoring a lot of the injury concerns, some of the guys who are listed as questionable. You had Rasul Douglas, Benito Jones dealing with an ankle injury. Austin Jackson, he had a toe, but he was activated after having his practice window open last week. He looks like he will be good to go. And Darren Waller will be activated, and he will be good to go after dealing with that pec injury. So reinforcements are here. If anybody does want to have faith, the Dolphins have met the have gotten to this point where they're still in this, and they are getting some better players back after what has been a pretty discouraging season with a lot of unfortunate injuries. But is there a return today, Solana, that you think is a bigger deal? Like, are you more intrigued by Austin Jackson, or are you more intrigued by Darren Waller? Because the line has been pretty decent.
Yeah, no, the line's been fine. You said it earlier, like they're kind of starting to get it together. And I happen to believe you are the leader of the Larry Borum fan club, by the way. Even if you deny it. Yeah, it's Darren Waller, is it not? Like, Darren Waller, I think he can give you 3 games again. Like, he'll give you 3 more games of just quality and until his next injury. Like, that seems inevitable to me. But look, I didn't expect anything from Darren Waller this season. I just didn't. And what he showed you in his first 4 games was that, like, he would be an absolute dog, man, just an absolute dog, and a target for Tua. 4 touchdowns in those 3 games. Like, give me somebody else that Tua can throw to. Give me somebody else who understands where to be in those underneath routes, where to kind of just hang around in the zone so that he can make plays for Tua and be a red zone target. To me, like, we were just talking in the previous segment, we want more from Tua. We want to see him play a little bit better. We want to see a more confident quarterback, especially if you're trying to pull off this magical run at the end of the season to save your season. Like, Darren Waller could be a big part of that. I have no trust that Austin Jackson can play a full game. I just don't right now. And that's because he hasn't. So that's kind of where I'm at with him. Like, I wish he could have been healthy all season. The idea of having Patrick Paul at one side, a healthy Austin Jackson on the other, like, I like that idea in theory, but I know looking at it rationally, it's just not likely.
Gameday, you have a guy between Darren Waller and Austin Jackson. Is there one that's more important to you on the comeback? Gameday, who you will hear today on Game Day Uncensored post-game edition.
Definitely Darren Waller. Austin Jackson, I would kind of worry about, like they say, the cohesiveness of the line. They seem to be coming together. Darren Waller is just a difference maker, and we've seen that already. So I'm really excited to have him back in the game.
I think what's interesting about the Austin Jackson thing too is, like, yeah, when he got hurt last year, it felt like there was a precipitous drop off with the Dolphins offensive line for sure. But it is interesting, we have the end of the Chris Greer era, and a lot of it's going to be defined by that draft where he had those 3 first-round picks. And Austin always has kind of felt like the guy who gets to skate under the radar a little bit because obviously it's a Tua draft, so everyone's going to talk about the quarterback forever and always.
Yep.
Then you have Noah Igbenogany, who was on the tail end of it, and he was so bad in his Dolphins era. Like, nobody ever really thought about Austin Jackson. And the thing that's funny about it is, like, what everybody always said about Noah was like, oh, yeah, Noah was so young. And Austin Jackson had kind of the same thing where he was a super young guy. But like, Noah Igbenogany got to that pool first. So, like, it's kind of been a charmed life for him with his Dolphins existence. And this really does feel like the first time where you're going to look at it with this eye, because even this offensive line right now, I think of the guys who are the anchors of it going forward are going to be, the face of it's going to be Patrick Paul. And then, and you're hopeful for years to come that he just continues this dominance. Then I think Aaron Brewer, and it's like, is Austin Jackson looked upon as a cornerstone for it anymore? I don't even think that he is. And so that's the important thing is the Dolphins got to look at this guy and be like, hey, are you a guy or are we just setting our watches the next time you're going to be a liability? Because, with Chris Greer gone, I really got to feel like they got to get out of this business of having unreliable bodies all over the place on this team that you could just set your watch and know that there's going to be a time where they're not going to be available.
Yeah, okay, but so you say, like, is he still a building block or is he still a player that the Dolphins are building around? Tobin, had he been healthy this year, we might feel differently. Like, to me, it's not even that Austin Jackson is one of the best right tackles in the NFL. It's not that. But you're right. When he was healthy a season ago and then he started missing time, you missed that, right? Like, you felt the lack of having Austin Jackson there. And I think if you go back to 2023, it was probably his best season, was it not? Like, you just felt like you had stability at the very least on the right side to protect to his blind side. And it's just a matter of injury with this guy at this point. In my opinion, like, when he's out there, not that he's been fantastic always. Obviously, it took him a really long time to get to a point where you felt comfortable with him starting. But you would have asked me 2 years ago, like, Austin Jackson was somebody on the offensive line that I felt comfortable with. And now, like, he just can't stay healthy. So you can't have that anymore. That's what I'm trying to get rid of if I'm a Dolphins fan. If I'm in the Dolphins brass, if I'm the next GM, or if Champ is looking at this entire situation, I don't want to rely on guys. And I know in the NFL, you get injured. It is what it is. It's part of playing in the NFL. But I don't want to rely on guys anymore who have a history of being constantly injured. Like, that to me has to get that is something that has to get cleaned up inside this organization, inside this locker room. And that kind of is who Austin Jackson's been his entire career, right, Tobin? Like, you're hoping he stays healthy.
Yeah, and it was one of these things where I was hopeful that it wasn't going to be, once we got past the first hurdles of it and he did get a healthy season and he got a nice extension for himself, I was hopeful this stuff was behind him. Now, the other side of it is like, look, it's hard to find talent on the offensive line. It's not like it's, I think if Austin Jackson was available on the free agent market, I feel like someone's going to scoop him up just because of pedigree. And they're just going to be like, oh, somebody will Teron Armstead him, right? Like, they're going to be like, oh, well, we'll hope that he's healthy and that if he is, he's obviously a first round talent. He's got talent. So it's a conundrum. I get it. You can't just like expect, hey, if we let Austin Jackson walk away, that he's not going to have some NFL future for somebody. I think somebody will take a shot at him. I'm hopeful that it cannot. I guess the thing that I'm hopeful for is that it's not a question anymore for the rest of the season. Right. That this could just be a part where if he could just get through these last 6 games and show like, no, he could be a big time contributor, then you'll feel good. Then you feel like, all right, going into next year, whatever the situation is with the quarterback, whatever the situation is with Daniel, you got your bookends and you want to have a feeling like that is going to be solidified for years to come. But everyone's patience has got to be thin with it right now.
Yeah, no. But you've been running the football well, and you just hope, the cohesion continues. But to answer your initial question, like, who am I more excited about? You're with us, right? With Dan and I, Tobin, it's Darren Waller.
Well, yeah. I mean, who doesn't want to see a freakazoid catch a bunch of touchdowns and big plays? Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, man, I can't wait to watch right tackle play. Of course, like the more exciting thing is the big weapon that's coming back. Like, there's no doubt about that. It's more exciting. Is it more important? I don't know. I think that with the offensive line playing together so much, I think we've been just opining about the offensive line for so long. It's probably that Austin Jackson's the more important answer that you need long term, because as fun as Darren Waller is, dude, this might be one and done for him. He may just be like, you know what? I showed that I still got something in the tank. I'm ready to ride off into the sunset. I don't know if this is a long-term thing for him. I don't know what his long-term future plans are with football, because, he's a guy who's been through a lot personally. Like, this may just be the end of the journey for him, because he's just like, all right, I showed that I could still do it. I'm not a bum. As long as my body holds up, I'm still one of the elite weapons at this position in the league. So what's the long-term future of that? I don't know. But Austin Jackson's definitely somebody they got to have an answer with. So yes, excitement-wise, you guys are spot on. Of course, you want to see this offense get a little bit of a jolt. He certainly proved that in his short stint healthy on this team. But long-term wise, no, I think Austin Jackson is probably the more important answer, especially just getting through the game.
Give me Darren Waller red zone targets though, man. I like that. Like, yeah, that's what I want to see.
Is that where you're going today on Porpoise Props? You're going to go with Darren Waller touchdowns?
I mean, I'm not going with a Greg Dulcich touchdown. I promise you that. Like, I'm definitely, and my other options are what? Like Julian Hill. I mean, none of it.
You feel bad for Hayden Rucci? What do you think that situation's like when you just get like the call? It's the middle of the season and you're Hayden Rucci and you're just like, listen, Hayden. You'd be like, hey, buddy, we're bringing back Darren Waller. It's been nice knowing you. And then it's just like, we might P squad you. We might, we'll see. We'll see. But like the Ruccis and the Dulciches and the Tanner Connors, like they've been doing this do-si-do with the tight ends all season.
Well, if I'm Hayden Rucci, I'm just waiting. I'm watching today's game, waiting for Darren Waller's body to fail him again because it's inevitable. He's like, all right, we'll see how much you like that move when Darren Waller's out for another 4 games. They have to put him on IR again. He knows he'll be right back in a Dolphins jersey in a couple weeks.
Has Hayden Rucci made a play as a tight? I don't even feel like I've seen Tanner Connor make plays. I've also seen him have drops. I don't feel like I've seen much of Hayden Rucci outside of the preseason.
Yeah, no. Didn't he? I think he had a catch. I believe he had a catch earlier this season. But it's like Greg Dulcich had a couple plays. Let's see.
Dulcich looks like he's got something to him. I like Dulcich.
Oh no catches, but he does have a tackle. He's got a special.
Of course, who could forget? Who could forget the Hayden Rucci tackle?
Yeah.
I just think that's been a funny thing that they've been trying to do all year. It's like, I'm not really sure. Hayden, they sit in those tight end meetings, and you think that they, the tight end coach is gonna be like, I don't listen. None of these guys are that great. Practice squad who you want. I don't really care. Tanner Connor, Rucci, keep Dulcich. I like him, but the other guys, flip a coin. I don't care who you get rid of. Doesn't really matter. Julian Hill. It's like, yeah, Julian Hill. Even Julian Hill, like, has been replaced. As much as I love him, like, everybody likes the Brunskill package.
Loves it.
Whoever brings donuts to the
right.
We're like, hey, put him on the team.
I like that guy. It's like, who's it? John Embry? Is he the tight ends coach? Be like, hey, I like that guy. He brought in some Krispy Kremes. We're good with him.
Yeah, I really like his coffee order this morning, so we're gonna go with him, coach.
At least you get coffee.
He's really found a way to my heart.
Julian Hill, like, talk about a fall off just due to injury. It's funny because like he was your starting tight end all season, and then Darren Waller is finally available, and now you have this shiny new toy, and then Darren Waller goes down, and now it's Julian Hill's spot to lose again. But then he goes down, and you're just surviving with different guys, with Greg Dulcich, like with whoever. But
right.
Even when Julian Hill was healthy again, they didn't go back to Julian Hill.
No, because they like Brunskill. They're just like, you know what we like? We like Brunskill being our tight end. We'll just put this jumbo package in. He likes going in motion. And they've actually found something with it. And look, if you're Julian Hill, if you're supposed to be the physical tight end, the blocking tight end, that can't be a great feeling because it's not exactly like he's this, targeted threat out on the out in the passing game. So yeah, I'm sure if I was him, I'd be like, oh man, this Brunskill, he's stealing my job. He just runs around, he goes in motion, just thinks he can do whatever. He's 300 pounds. That's not fair. I could be 300 pounds.
Hey, speaking of guys who are coming back or maybe not coming back, before we go to break here, is Jason Sanders done?
I was talking about this before I went on vacation this week, and I nearly had Leroy choke me out. But I told him that I was really nervous about Jason Sanders coming back because I just don't know what to expect with a kicker coming back off a groin injury and being like, just go kick, dude, with high stakes. And he thought I was crazy. He's just like, oh, well, this is stupid. of course he's going to come back when he's healthy. I'm like, yeah, but isn't there an extra stress to coming back? You're not just kicking in the open fields. Like there's pressure. And, what if Jason Sanders get a little long in the tooth? I'm a little nervous about Jason Sanders coming back.
If they made it sound like, hey, he's going to miss 3-4 games at the beginning of the season when he got hurt. Remember, like this Riley Patterson experiment, trust me, nobody has been more like deep in the Riley Patterson experience than I have, because my entire football reputation was literally clinging on him making field goals week 1 and week 2. But he was supposed to miss, 3-4 weeks, Tobin? Then he gets put on IR. I mean, here we are. The Dolphins are, 11, 12 games into the season. This would be game 13, and he's still not back. He's still on IR. It was probably something, either they just didn't want to admit it, that Riley Patterson was better, and they didn't want to admit it, or something more serious was at play with this injury. So I think you're right. Like, I don't think, it's just automatic he's going to come back and be Jason Sanders from a year ago, who was automatic from 50-plus yards. Clearly, like, something bigger was at play here in terms of his injury.
Well, I think outside of amputation, like a groin for a kicker feels like the worst injury you could have. So that's why I'm
one. Amputation's
yes.
1, groin 2. That's
frostbite. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me take that back.
Okay.
Frostbite, gangrene, gout, groin injury. Like that is in the words of Mark Hockman. Those are the Mount Rushmore. That is the Mount Rushmore of kicker injuries.
Okay. Yeah.
And so he's got one of the 4. And I'm just, you have all of your lower body connected, and he's got to boot the ball at least 50 yards. Yeah, I'm a little nervous about, like, imagine, Solana, we come down to like week 17 and the Dolphins have a chance. This could be the comeback. And you bring out Jason Sanders, who's come back. He's back for 2 games. He's back. And you're just like, all right, Jason, your first kick of consequence to send the Dolphins to the playoffs. Yeah, I'm a little nervous about that.
He shanks it left at Gillette Stadium.
Oh,
yeah. God. You know it's going to happen. Yeah, but they don't have to do that, Tobin. They got Riley Patterson.
Well, they do. And like, I get
solid.
it. He's rock solid up to 45 yards, and just like let him do his thing. And, you know what the stakes are, Dan.
That's what I'm saying. What if we get to the final game of the year and it comes down to the last play of the game and we're like 50, 60 yards away, Tua can't throw a Hail Mary, and Riley Patterson can't kick over 50 yards? What do you do?
Just give it to H-Chan. H-Chan, save us. Just H-Chan, save us. We'll take a break here on Gameday Uncensored. Chris Perkins is going to join us next hour. We're back with more after this.
This hurricane season, keep it on 101.
AM Miami, an Odyssey sports station.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
It's another Game Day Uncensored.
Back from the bye, the Dolphins are home to the Saints today, riding a 2-game winning streak. Mike McDaniel says he wanted to make the most of the bye week, but there was work to be done.
We have a very identifiable cadence to our work week that the pillars of the team, the captains, and the leadership council won't settle for something that shortchanges what we know that to look like, so that we can focus on our football against the one opponent that you have scheduled to play and treating them with a full regard, which in this case would be the New Orleans Saints.
And as for that 2-game winning streak, Zach Sealer says it's time to move on.
Past the past, learn from it. I mean, even though we won, there's lots to clean up and do it better next week. If you keep doing that, hopefully it leads you the right direction.
Home cooking today for the Fins. We're going to break it all down on Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans, with Tobin and Solana, Omar Kelly and Chris Perkins on FM 104.3 WQAM. Miami sports leader.
Game Day Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM is brought to you by the Lexus TX. Room for all your passions in 3 rows of luxurious comfort. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. By Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet. When it comes to scoring a rugged new truck, Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet is the MVP of selection. Visit EdmoreSawgrassChevrolet.com and start shopping today. Remember, you're always backed by Morse. And by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business. A 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate.
All right, and welcome back in, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Brendan Tobin alongside Alejandro Solana here with you. Dan Day running the board for us. You guys can hear Dan Day coming up on the post-game edition. Get your calls in live. You want that pure Dolphins reaction? Game Day Uncensored post-game with Dan Day. The phones are open at all times, Dan Day.
Never stops, man. Never stops.
Never stops. So there you go. If you guys want to line it up here today, Dan Day has got you guys. That is your sounding board today to let you know where we're at and where we feel. Solana, Chris Perkins is going to join us later on this hour. We'll talk to Perk. But Solana, going into this, all right, we got 6 games left. Dolphins, what questions need to be answered with the remainder of this season? What is left to be answered in your mind for this Dolphins team with the remaining games, the potential of a late playoff push? They've already fired their general manager.
Yep.
Everybody, we've had banners, we've had people pissed off. What can the Dolphins answer with the remainder of this season?
Well, it's funny, like we kind of have to have an entire shift philosophically about what ownership thinks about this organization and the direction of it. Because I think at the start of the season, you lose to the Colts, and then you're in a position where you're 1-7 or 1-6, and then you lose that Thursday night football game. You wake up and Chris Grier is fired. Tobin, you thought it would be Mike McDaniel that would be fired, not Chris Grier. And I kind of agreed with you ultimately. Like I thought Chris Grier was so buddy with Stephen Ross and he's just been here so long. But fine, they move on from Chris Grier. I think everybody's expectation at that moment was what? Okay, this entire thing is getting blown up at some point. Like this thing's done. It's over with.
Right.
And here we are a couple weeks later. And look, I'm not telling anybody that I'm advocating for this to remain the core with Champ Kelly as your general manager and Mike McDaniel as your head coach and Tua Tagovailoa as your quarterback. But the more the Dolphins win, it seems more and more likely that this is going to be the direction that Stephen Ross decides to kind of run with moving on after this season. So, yeah, we have to figure out, like, is Mike McDaniel worthy enough to keep his job? I think that has to be number one. Like, is he a good enough head coach with a limited Tua and when things were as bad as they've been to keep this team together to keep winning games?
Yeah, I think that there's been good signs from him from a locker room still tries to play hard for him standpoint, but I also think that there's also a lot of professional pride that's on that side of the football as well. Like, it's not like last year where you had Jalen Ramsey or Jordan Poyer or these guys who, felt like they were here for one last stint, and when it got hard, they're pouting about it. So I don't know. I also don't know how much credit he deserves for that either. Like, I think that you could have a turtle on the sidelines with a headset, and Jordan Brooks going to play hard for that turtle. Like, he's just a maniac, and you have a lot of young guys who obviously are trying to make their mark in the league. So I don't know what the answer is as far as like, hey, his guys are playing hard for him. It's like, yeah, but he also almost tried to give a game up to the Commanders. So
yeah, right.
What's the balance there as far as his guys play hard for him? I don't know.
Here's where I'm at with that, Tobin. And I had last year when Tua misses those 4 games, we've talked about this before. When Tua missed those 4 games after falling in the second week to Buffalo with another head injury, his inability to adjust his offensive scheme, to dumb it down for 3 separate backup quarterbacks, to at the very least look competent, in my opinion, was very telling about who Mike McDaniel is as a head coach. I don't know if you chalk that up to stubbornness. I don't know if you chalk that up to ego, where he just thinks he's such a creative and offensive mastermind that he can maximize anybody who's in the quarterback position. And it was proof that they couldn't, because the offense looked like a shell of itself. But looking to this season, what I remember a lot of people saying nationally, and even some of our local guys, Chris Perkins told us this on Gameday Uncensored a couple times, which was that Mike McDaniel no longer had control of the locker room, which was that when the Dolphins were at their very lowest this season, Mike McDaniel no longer was the leader of this team. People were no longer listening to the messages that Mike McDaniel had to offer to his team. And I don't think that's true. I don't think this is a guy who's lost command of the locker room. I don't think this is a guy who garners zero respect in that locker room. And I don't think that's a fair narrative to move forward. So no matter how you feel about Mike McDaniel as a coach, I have a lot of questions about that. You can't sit here today and say, hey, this is a locker room that doesn't look to their head coach and has respect for him. I don't think that's a fair statement.
I will say this. If they do keep Mike McDaniel and they do bring him back, I think it's time for Stephen Ross to end his little media hiatus. And I don't want this being put out with a statement or whatever. Like, I do think that, look, maybe some things will be out. Maybe the Dolphins make a miracle playoff run, then obviously he's going to keep his job, right? You're not going to fire a guy who makes the playoffs. But like, let's say the season finishes, 6-7 wins, right? I didn't mean to do the stupid bit, but like, just let's say it finishes 7-10.
Your son and daughter, that's like.
Strangely, my daughter's more into that bit than my son is. Normally,
really?
My son is into this. Yeah, but no, that's not the case. Either way, let's just say that the Dolphins. At least I made all your kids on the way to the game happy. Everybody 6-7. But let's say the Dolphins finish with 7 wins. They finish, 7-10, and they do keep Mike McDaniel. Like, I need Stephen Ross to explain why. I'm sorry. I need him, and not just you don't get to just do it on the pregame broadcast next year, the preseason broadcast next year. Like, it's time for that old man to face some microphones. I'm sorry. It's time for this guy to give us a vision. And you want to know something? If he's not going to be the guy anymore, give us what the succession plan is. Let us know, where are we going with this? Who's making the decisions? Who are the people that are out here pulling the strings anymore? If he just wants to show up with his suspenders and his glasses and sit next to Garfinkel and eat his cheese and drink his wine, cool. I'm fine with that. But at least let's just have it on the record on where we're at with this and why you've decided that these are the people that you're going to have the trust in your organization with going forward. And obviously he's got a lot to answer for over the years, between the Flores thing, the tampering, the extension decisions, all that type of stuff, why they fired Chris Grier. But I do think that it would be nice for the owner to have some responsibility answered for on the state of the franchise. I think that would be nice.
Yeah, but it's a heady play by Stephen Ross, because now that you start to talk through it, I mean, the amount of questions that he has just dodged over the years, like legitimate scandals, big scandals that he's just like, yeah, Chris Greer, Mike McDaniel, go handle that for me. Yeah, I mean, I understand why he'll only hang out with Goldie and Bocamper on a pregame show and just kind of peacock a little bit about the team, because, hey, there's a lot of bleep that we got to uncover here, Stephen Ross, that we want you to answer for.
He needs to answer for some of it. Obviously, also, you got to get, the Tua thing is obviously another huge thing that needs to be answered for. Like, we need to know, not only is like he the long-term answer, I guess are the Dolphins, I guess, is Tua going to play good enough that the Dolphins won't pull a Russell Wilson, that they will swallow copious amounts of dead cap just to get him off the team? And can he look like that competent the rest of the way?
I think the question has been answered. We had Josh Appel on, who's an NFL broadcaster, and I thought he said it perfectly on our show over the past couple days. He said, the question has been answered about Tua's future with Miami. He's not the long-term future, but will he be here next year? Like, that's the question. And if he plays how he's been playing, there might be more reason to pull the Russell Wilson and just eat a bleep ton of money, because you're just like, all right, we can't do this anymore. But if he doesn't, if he plays, how Tua has played for a large part of his career down the stretch here, and he puts the Dolphins in a better position, Tobin, then he'll probably be here one more season in a Dolphins jersey.
He's going to have some interesting matchups coming up. Today is not one of those necessarily, even though all of the games are important, but there's going to be, at least for right now, primetime matchups for him. Monday Night Football, where there's a lot of, crossover stories with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right.
There's going to be the Joe Burrow showdown.
Sunday
There's
Night
going to
Football.
be Drake May there's cold weather games. There's going to be in New York, in Pittsburgh, in New England to end the season. So there's going to be a lot of those as well. Like, good teams, primetime elements, all things that are looked upon as Tua kryptonite will all be things that he's facing the rest of the year as well.
How the hell does this team still have 2 primetime games left this season?
I mean, like,
in back-to-back weeks, they still have 2 primetime games left.
I know, and it's crazy because it's like you look at this team, and first of all, like, I do think that they're one of those teams that people like to talk about nationally. Like, they kind of garner, because they like to make fun of Mike McDaniel and Tua. Like, they just garner a lot of attention. I don't think those games will get flexed. I mean, if they lose to this, they'll probably get flexed. But if they don't, if they take care of business over the next couple of weeks, like we think they will, then yeah, they're probably going to be in prime time. And I'm kind of curious to see how Tagovailoa handles that stuff going forward the rest of the way. Like, that's going to be an interesting debate, and it's all going to be there for him. He's going to have this golden opportunity for himself to put it on display that he's put the hardships of the start of the season behind him, the turnover issues. He talked in Spain about how bad he was with the answering of questions, which he's been terrible at this year as well. He has been an absolute gas can when it comes to controversy. Instead of putting it out, he's just like, how about we make the flames higher? How about we make them stronger? So, like, he's got a lot of making good to do with these last handful of games.
It's got to start today. By the way, you can't get outplayed by Shuck. You just can't.
No.
Like, this has to be, in my opinion. And by the way, Tua's been really good at home in November. Really, really good at home in November. So this has to be one of those games where we're not talking about Tua Tagovailoa and some of his mistakes after a game like this, right? Like, this can't be one of those games where tomorrow at 10 a.m. you're starting your show and you're not even considering bringing back our Tua.
Well, no, he's not up for appeal, I think, until he gets to 500. I believe that's
really?
Okay. Yeah, he's not even up for appeal, not even that it's back. I don't even know if he's going to get our Tua back, because the listeners were really furious with him at the start of the season. I had not seen that kind of backlash, because I've been getting the end hour Tua jokes for a while now. But like that was legitimately like, if you play this, I'm never listening to your show again. That's the kind of critical state we were at. And I don't know if people I don't know if people want to peel unless he even gets to the playoffs, let alone 500.
Gotcha.
You know, you got to listen to the people, Salon. It's an important thing in radio.
Yep, I got you.
It's an important thing in radio. All right, we'll take a break. Chris Perkins from the South Florida Sun Sentinel. We'll talk to Perk coming up next.
back to Game Day Uncensored. The pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
And welcome back. It's Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM, which, of course, is brought to us by our friends over at Lexus. The Lexus December to Remember sales event is going on. Get offers on select models for a limited time. Let us talk to our guy from the South Florida Sun Sentinel, Miami Dolphins columnist, Chris Perkins, joining us there. Hello, Perk. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, man. I'm waiting to see what kind of mood the fans are in. The fans who have flown a banner over this stadium, who have booed the home team, who have sold their tickets to Buffalo and Baltimore fans. I want to see if they're in a good mood and supportive of the team now that they've won back-to-back and 3 out of 4.
It feels like it should be the most jovial that place has been all year, right? Like it feels like that it's the holiday season. Maybe you got some family in town. It feels like it should be the most positive atmosphere of the season.
100% should be all positive. This is as close to guaranteed victory day as we're going to get this season, right? So everybody should be in a good mood. I know I shouldn't be saying that, right? I shouldn't be talking like that. But I'm not on the team. That's what I say. I'm not on the team. I can have whatever attitude I want. The players can't have that attitude. But, yeah, I would expect this is a very supportive, loud, boisterous crowd that gets a lot to cheer for today.
I'm not going to argue with you, Perk, because, one, I agree. I do think the Dolphins are just better than the Saints. The Saints stink. They're probably the worst team in the NFL. But with that being said, you know, you at one point over Game Day Uncensored going into that Bills game said, hey, if the Dolphins can beat the Bills, then they should be the favorites to win 4 in a row. And here we are. I mean, this might be the most important one because if you get this one, at least you're at 3-0, Perk. But is it crazy to think that the Dolphins are in a position after starting the season the way that they started to go on a 4-game win streak in the middle of the year?
Yeah, no, it's good to see because it shows some progress and it shows that, look, this team is improving. They didn't stay stagnant. They didn't quit. I think Mike McDaniel's play calling has gotten more creative. I thought it did last year when they went to the dink and dunk offense, but I think this year without Tyreek, it's been more creative. Now, look, it's been a lot of Devon Achane, but hey, it's kind of like when you had Tyreek. When you have your best player out there, you feed him the ball. So, yeah, I think that it shows a lot of stuff that the Dolphins have kind of turned around the season as far as McDaniel, as far as the way that they win, as far as not giving up on each other, not giving up on Mike McDaniel. It's a great statement. It kind of shows that they can turn it around like last year, the 2-6 start, and then you finish 6-3. So let's see how they finish. But yeah, it's kind of unbelievable, but it's kind of what should have happened after that rough start. And when you look at this stretch of the schedule.
But we would talk about this during the show today, but what return are you more intrigued by, Austin Jackson's or Darren Waller's?
Oh, I heard y'all talking about this earlier. I think it's Waller because, you know, look, when you have this offense with Achane, Waddle, and Waller, you have a lot of options out there. Tua has a lot of options. We know this hasn't been a great year for Tua, 17 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 88.1 passer rating. His next interception ties his career worst with 14. His worst passer rating was 87.1 as a rookie. He's at 88.1 now. He could use Darren Waller out there to make a long story short there. So I'm really excited to see what Waller brings to the offense. Austin Jackson's return can't be understated, but, you know, I think Solana was saying he doesn't know if Austin can play a full game. I don't know if he's at that stage either, but, you know, Waller with his limited snap counts that he was playing before, he ought to be able to go out there and give him, you know, 20, 25 snaps, and maybe he gets a touchdown in there. He's been a high impact player. I want to see what he does in his return.
Hey, but Perk, you know, you're talking about Mike McDaniel. His play calling has improved, and overall what the Dolphins have done over the past couple games here. Can you see the offense taking a different route because Darren Waller's back in action? And what I mean by that is, you know, they've been running the ball pretty successfully. I think they're just under 600 yards over the past 4 games. This is a season high for them over 4 games. Is this still, hey, we're going to ride the running back, specifically Devon Achane, to victory no matter who we're playing? Or can you see, because you're playing the Saints, maybe Mike McDaniel takes some more liberties with some of, the conservativeness of how they've been playing with Tua, and they're going to let him go out there and try to figure it out, especially with a new weapon?
I'm going to start off with my run game because that's what's been working. That's how your offensive line is most effective. That takes a little burden off of Tua's shoulders. So use the run to set up the pass. Your offensive line run blocks pretty well. New Orleans has 3 guys with 4 or more sacks. So you'll kind of have to watch out for that also when you're talking about pass protection. The benefits of running the ball outweigh the benefits of deviating from the run, which has led you to success recently. So I would fully expect that they come out and feature Devon Achane, get him established, and then you build the passing game to Waller and Waddle and whoever else after that.
Perk, is there a young guy on this team the rest of the way that you think you got the keenest eye on? Is it Chop? Is it Kenny G? Savai Anaya? Who do you think has the most proven to do the rest of the way?
Oh, boy. I mean, Patrick Paul has been the best young guy. And I guess you could say Achane, considering it's his 3rd year, but he's established. Patrick Paul would be next. But somebody who has to prove something, yeah, I'm looking at the first and second round picks of the last couple of years minus Patrick Paul. So Chop Robinson, last year's first round pick, Kenneth Grant, this year's first round pick, and Jonas Vainaya, this year's second round pick. I want to see improvement out of all of them. We saw Chop Robinson come on late last season, and you guys remember that one thing that Chop said was that he moved a little bit further outside to give him a better inside-outside option when rushing the passer. Apparently the league is caught up to Chop. So Chop has got to make an adjustment to the league's adjustment, and we haven't seen that yet. So yeah, it's those guys, and really for a couple of reasons. Number one, because they're high draft picks, but number two, the Dolphins are trying to build the line of scrimmage, and all 3 of those guys are crucial to it. All 4, really, but Patrick Paul has kind of established himself. So, yeah, I'm looking at those other 3, Chop, Kenneth Grant, and Jonah, to come on for the rest of the season. Show me something.
Hey, Perk, when you were just kind of preparing for this game, is there anything that the Saints do that worries you at all? Because, I don't know, I mean, they don't run – the Dolphins, we know, teams that have been able to run the football – have been able to kind of squeak by and make some stuff happen against his defense. The Saints can't run the football well, and Alvin Kamara's out. So I don't know, is there anything? Because I couldn't really find anything that they do outside of their defense can be a little annoying at times for opposing offenses, but anything that you're concerned about with the Saints?
Well, yeah, I mean, just, the Dolphins, to me, it's more the Dolphins, and the Dolphins have to respect the Saints. The Dolphins have to take them seriously. I know you got the rookie quarterback, Tyler Shough, the 2nd-round pick out of Louisville, but you've already lost to Dylan Gabriel this year, right? So you got to respect Tyler Shough. And, the run game, I know Alvin Kamara is out, but your run defense have allowed Rico Dowdle 206 yards, and then you allowed Kamani Vidal, $124. So they can't disrespect or overlook anybody. Quarterback, running back, team, whatever. They have to take everybody and every threat and every team seriously. So to me, it's not so much the line of what the Saints have. It's the attitude of the Dolphins. Take every opponent seriously, because we've seen already this year, if you take somebody lightly, they can come up and kick your butt. So I'm hoping that the Dolphins have a serious attitude, that they're not like me and saying it's damn near guaranteed victory day, that they take the Saints as seriously as they took the Bills.
From the perspective of a late season run, Perk, do you look at the AFC right now? Because it's basically you can make 12 teams, and technically they're in the hunt in this entire conference because it's so cluttered. Is it more reasonable to expect the Dolphins late season run, or do you expect the typical Royals we've had, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bills, will get it together, and it's kind of hapless to even think that the Dolphins could make some kind of a late run like that?
I'll tell you this, Tobin, I want to see from the Dolphins things that we haven't seen from Mike McDaniel teams in the past. And so when you talk about making a late season run, you're talking about winning late season road games, which they haven't been able to do. You got a big one coming up against, well, the Jets first and then Pittsburgh, beating playoff caliber teams. And so that would be Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, and New England. Winning in December and January. I believe that they're 7-11 in December and January under Mike McDaniel. So those are some of the things that I want to see from this Dolphins team. If they can do those things, then yeah, they can get back into the playoff race. But you know, look, I know I said this is almost guaranteed victory day. Next week they should win. I know it's a division game against on the road against the Jets at the New York Jets. They should win that one. I'm looking at that Monday night game against Pittsburgh as the first game to show me that you can do something that you haven't previously done under Mike McDaniel, winning a primetime game, winning a road game, winning a December game. And they've done these things, but not consistently. Beating a playoff caliber team. These are the things to me that the Dolphins have to do to show me that they really have made improvement. You know, if they finish this season 8-9 and they've lost to Tampa and Pittsburgh and New England, you know, you made a nice comeback from the 1-6 start and the 0-3 start, but you kind of did the same thing that we've seen before, right? We've seen an 8-win season. We've seen you start off slow and finish fast. I want to see you beat some quality teams, win some late season games. To me, that's the bigger key to the Dolphins getting back into the AFC playoff picture than what everybody else does. It's the Dolphins need to show us some things that they haven't shown us before in the Mike McDaniel era.
Yeah, it sounds just like the Dolphins my entire life, Perk. They're going to be 8-win team. They're going to miss the playoffs, and they can't win a meaningful game in November. Just because we're talking about the playoffs before we let you go, Perk, who are you buying in the AFC? Because you look at the top three seeds, the Patriots, the Broncos, the Colts. And then you've got the Bills right now sitting as the final wild card team. The Chiefs and the Ravens are on the outside looking in currently. I know there's still a lot of football left to play. Are you buying like this renaissance of the young teams and the new faces in the AFC, or you still think, hey, at the end of the season, Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, it's going to be one of those three?
I don't believe in the Ravens. I wasn't that impressed when they came here and waxed the Dolphins. What was it, 28-6, whatever that score was? I know Lamar Jackson had the 4 touchdowns and no interceptions. I just wasn't that impressed by Baltimore. Indy and Denver, boy, I don't believe in their quarterbacks, Daniel Jones and Bo Nix. You know, Daniel Jones, we'll see what he can do. I think he's got the fibula injury today. Bo Nix, I think that it's more the defense. Bo Nix has been good. He's been reliable. But I think they're more of the defense, and you know, with Indy and Denver, I haven't seen them do it in the playoffs before. I probably have the most faith in Kansas City, and for one reason we've seen them do it, but another, I can rely on that defense reasonably well. I think I know what that defense is going to be early in the playoffs, definitely late in the season, definitely. So. We'll see what they can do. And as far as the rest, the AFC is just muddled. I really thought it was going to be the traditional teams, the Buffalo, Baltimore, and Kansas City, and we'll see what the rest of the conference can do. It hasn't been that at all. It's been the rest of the conference. And, you know, I've got a cousin who's a Buffalo fan, and he's just beside himself. He's every week he's texting me about how this team is going to disappoint and how, you know, how Keon Coleman has been a disappointment. They can't do this and they can't do that. McDermott this, McDermott that. It's been a very interesting year in the AFC. So honestly, I don't know who to believe in aside from Kansas City and Mahomes and that defense. And I'm not even sure Kansas City is going to come out of the AFC. So I don't know who to believe in this conference. It's going to be a really, really good finish.
Always appreciate when you give us time, Perk. Thank you.
All right, guys. We'll do it next week.
There you go. Chris Perkins. Go follow his work in the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Always does a fantastic job and always appreciate when he joins us. We'll take a break. More Game Day Uncensored after this.
WQAM broadcasting live from the Ed Moore
FM 104.3 WQAM.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's game day, uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Thanks again to Chris Perkins for stopping by the program. Omar Kelly will join us around noon today, and we will get a sense of the lay of the land. I just saw a video from Mike Cugno from CBS 4, and he just tweeted out, it's going to be a wet one here at Hard Rock, and it does not look great, Dan Day, over there. It looks I can't even tell if it's like fog or rain or what's going on over there.
It's a combination of heavy rain and mist, so it'll kind of go in spurts. There's bands that come through.
Yeah, well, it's not a great. Thank goodness for that canopy, ladies and gentlemen. If you're going to the game today, stick under that there today for the Dolphins and Saints and getting going with this one. But they are getting set. They Dolphins trying to ride off of this bye week and get a win against New Orleans, who's obviously struggled this season at 2-9. They got a rookie QB. They don't have Alvin Kamara. Who, listen, he's not the Alvin Kamara of a couple of years ago, but he's still dangerous. And so certainly a little bit of a reprieve, the Dolphins. They do have a very impressive defensive front, though. Like, they got some, Cam Jordan's been one of the league's best for a while. Chase Young is on their team. I completely forgot about that. I was like, man, number 2 overall pick, Chase Young, and one of the freak of freaks. So it's not like they're going up against a bunch of bums on defense. It's more, can they take advantage of the offense and a rookie QB and whatnot. But yeah, Cugno putting out that video. It does not look like the greatest weather over there right now at Hard Rock Stadium.
What's funny is right before Perk joined us, he had taken a picture from Hard Rock and he said, "Perfect day for football." But that shows you how quickly things change in Miami.
They certainly do. Let us get to a little segment we like to call Echolocation.
It's time for echolocation.
That is how dolphins communicate.
It's okay to be called out as long as you change your behavior.
What's 1,000 yards if it's not like a winning season?
They talk, we do.
Echolocation.
Send it in.
Echolocation, hearing some of the sounds of the week from your Miami Dolphins parties and this Thanksgiving week. If you were away this week, maybe you didn't partake in Dolphins coverage as much as you normally have. I know I didn't. I was busy doing holiday stuff. But the Dolphins getting ready for this matchup. We talked a little bit about this with Chris Perkins, but Chop Robinson has not exactly had the production. Cugno actually asked Mike McDaniel this week about Chop Robinson and his production, and Mike McDaniel says he has no doubt it'll pick up.
I've seen Chop, who is the hardest on himself, relentless, driven, ambitious ball player that, wants to have a, 25 sacks every season. How are you going to handle when things don't go exactly your way? It's the test of all people in this league, and it makes or breaks you. And what you worry, confidence, you worry about, if guys are going to go outside of their responsibilities to try to make plays. It's always well-intentioned, but that can be selfish football. I've seen more focus into the ground up, each step focus, hand placement, but not losing the confidence. What does that mean? I know we're going to get good football and ascending football, and it's kind of ironically proving who I thought he was. And he's a big part of the team. There's a lot of stuff that he does that other players benefit from simply by his tenacity and his get off on each and every snap.
All right, there you go. Mike McDaniel on Chop Robinson.
Very detailed from Coach.
I always like when he hits us with what does that mean? That's his tell that he knows he's been going on for a while. I mean, look, he has not had the production. He's had a little bit of he had the concussion this year, had the knee injury scare earlier in the year, so you can put that maybe as some of it. But he's got one sack this year, Solana. Like one sack He's got fewer tackles than Willie Gay, Cam Good, Ethan Bonner. Zeke Biggers has many tackles in 3 games.
That's crazy.
Jack Jones has more tackles for loss than him.
That's
crazy, man.
That's crazy.
I'm just to kind of put you at where he's at. He's got 9 total tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss this year. You know, you want a little bit more. I think didn't you mention like in Spain he was like on all the posters
everywhere. That dude was like more advertised than anybody else in a Dolphins jersey, and for whatever reason, maybe because they can pronounce Chop Robinson in Spain. Like I don't know, I can't figure it out. But that's what Anthony Weaver told us. They're like, dude, this dude's plastered everywhere, all over Madrid, so he's got to come out and perform. Here's what I'll say though, Tobin. They trade Jalen Phillips. I know part of it was a contract. Like, I realize that. But, hey, like, this is your opportunity now. So you're going to get 6 games after this bye week, hopefully healthy, to put some better tape out there. Because if not, there's some decisions that got to be made.
Yeah, look, they certainly want to get some more out of Chop Robinson. There's no doubt about that. Tua Tagovailoa. He was discussing this week about taking hits in the pocket and roughing the passer calls, and Tua says he's not a flopper.
I wouldn't say I'm one of the guys throughout the leagues that like I don't just flop if somebody touches me. Like if they hit me and I fall, like I'm falling, and if I feel like I get the ball out and then there's a couple seconds in between where I'm getting hit, then I'll be like dude, like. I'll look back to the ref. So outside of that, I understand, the impact that has on the game for guys on the defensive side of the ball. And because it's my position, I mean, I'm fair game. Yeah, like I love that they protect the quarterback with that, right? But I can also see the pros, for us, but more so the cons for the guys on defense when guys are trying to make plays, and they're trying to sack the guy, and for some reason quarterback backs up and he's now tackling his legs, and that's a flag. So I can understand both the pros and the cons, but when I go out there to play football, I'm not looking for a roughing the passer or like a flag as I play. Like it is what it is. We go out there, we play the game the way the game should be played, and just focus on that. Should take care of itself.
Did you see yesterday, Solana, in the Canes Pitt game? Did you see the just tremendous floppery by CJ Daniels yesterday?
I picked up the flag. That's floppery maybe, but it's a great play. It's a heady play by CJ Daniels.
If you guys didn't see it, in the middle of yesterday's game, the Canes were driving. I think it was to start the second half. They got the ball back, and CJ Daniels gets into it with one of the cornerbacks of Pitt. And they're just kind of hand fighting. They're going back and forth. And then the Pitt guy kind of hits him in the face a little bit much. And CJ Daniels does a great job of kind of like rolling with it, but also like grabs his face and falls down. And the referee just like completely bought on it. It was such a great acting job by CJ Daniels. Kept the drive going for the Canes.
But here's the thing. I'm fine with you flopping if somebody throws a punch or pushes you or hits you. Like, I'm fine with you selling some sort of, non-football thing. Honestly, I am. Like, if that's going to give your team 15 plus yards, what I'm not fine with is Josh Allen sliding and a football, like a defender or linebacker, whoever comes to make the tackle, clearly pulls up and then he flails his head backwards. Like if he got hit in the head trying to get an unsportsmanlike penalty for a late hit when it wasn't even close. Like that to me is where it gets ridiculous, where these guys will fake a slide, keep running, then go down. They get this tiniest bit of contact and he's flailing his arms asking for a penalty. Like that drives me nuts. And Tua doesn't do that, Tobin.
No, I don't think Tua's a flapper. I think if anything, Tua's trying as much as he can. Tua doesn't want anything getting sparked by controversy or anything with his head. Like there's been times where Tua has gotten thrown around and we've been like, whoa, that wasn't roughing, because he kind of got spiked there. The stuff of more of a couple years ago than this year, but no, I don't think he's a flopper. Bradley Chubb, he one time this year, he got called for taunting because he dragged his deal over Josh Allen too long. He says the Fins are riding their momentum right now.
It feels like we're getting some momentum. We put together two pretty good games, you know what I mean, playing team football. The Buffalo one, it was more of a everybody hitting their groove, everybody feeling good. And the Madrid one, we came down to the wire and we had to real play, real team football and buy into one another each phase. So now we just try to build that momentum and keep it going. I feel like we've seen the blueprint of what happens when we play like that. So now it's just about continuing to do it.
All right. There you go from Bradley Chubb, who's had a nice season so far this year.
I mean, hey, he's not wrong. Like blueprint right now, but from the defense's perspective, is keep doing what they've been doing. Back-to-back weeks, you've held the two teams you played against to 13 points. You've got the New Orleans Saints coming in, who have just been brutal offensively. They've been held under 20 points in each of their last 6 games. That's the longest streak in the NFL right now, under 20 points. Like for the defense, hey, keep doing what you're doing, man.
They've looked much better so far this year. There's no doubt about that. Game Day Uncensored brought to you by Edmore Sawgrass Auto Mall. Shop massive savings on massive Chevy inventory, all backed by Morse at Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet. Visit EdmoreSawgrassChevrolet.com. Chevy, find new roads. We'll take a break. More to come here on Game Day Uncensored. The Dolphins have officially made the In the Hunt graphic. Are they really in the hunt? Back after this.
This Saturday, the 13th ranked 9-2 Miami Hurricanes
On WQAM FM and HD1 Miramar, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and WQAM AM Miami, an Odyssey sports station.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
It's another Game Day Uncensored.
Nothing like home sweet home. The Dolphins are back from Spain, back off the bye, and will host the Saints today at good old Hard Rock Stadium. The Finns have won 2 in a row. Be still my beating heart. But then, of course, came the bye week. Patrick Paul was asked if the bye was a momentum killer.
It's never a bad time to rejuvenate, and I think it gives you some perspective. Let's say you go home and see your family. You know, it's more motivation. It's your why, and that's really important in the sport, is to know why you're doing it.
The Saints have just 2 wins on the season. But Tua says there are still things to look out for on the Saints' defense.
Having a lot of veterans, having guys that have seen a lot of football, that have played a lot of football. You got guys that have played together for some time as well. They know how to operate. They kind of know, okay, if I go here, I know I'm going to trust that you're going to be there. And I think the camaraderie that they have defensively is what makes them successful in, trying to minimize as much points as they can from their opposing team's offense.
And away we go. The Dolphins play the Saints. We're here to tell you how the Finns could win on Gameday, Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans, with Tobin and Solana, Omar Kelly and Chris Perkins, on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami sports leader.
Game Day Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM is brought to you by the Lexus TX. Room for all your passions in 3 rows of luxurious comfort. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. By Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet. When it comes to scoring a rugged new truck, Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet is the MVP of selection. Visit EdmoreSawgrassChevrolet.com and start shopping today. Remember, you're always backed by Morse. And by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business. A 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Brendan Tobin alongside Alejandro Solana here with you, getting you ready for Dolphins and Saints. Dan Day producing for us. You guys can hear Dan today on the post-game edition of Game Day Uncensored. Dan, what time will you get going today?
Probably around 4 o'clock, whenever the game ends. But if something goes crazy, wacky, wild, we will either start early or start late. It's all depending on what goes on.
Well, there you go. If you guys are on your way home from the game today or just roaming around the South Florida streets, you guys can give Dan Day a call and listen to his post-game coverage right here on QAM. And get after it. Solana, the Dolphins, 4-7 after their win against the Washington Commanders in Spain, and then went into the bye week. We have 6 games left. The Dolphins have been in the hunt graphics. I don't know if they're actually in the hunt, but they're in the graphics. Basically everybody who's not the Titans, the Jets, the Raiders, and the Browns are basically technically still in the hunt. Even the Bengals, who got back Joe Burrow, now seem like they might also be in the hunt. So there's a lot of teams in the hunt. I don't necessarily know if I believe the Dolphins are in the hunt. Do you?
Yes, I do. But for them to actually get out of just being in the hunt and become a playoff team, I mean, they pretty much have to go undefeated. I think that's what it's going to end up taking. And I have zero confidence in this team. So they've won 2 straight. They've got 6 games remaining. That would require an 8-game winning streak to end the season. If they do that, man, hats off to Mike McDaniel. Hats off to Tua. Good for you guys. I'll buy the hell in. Let's go. Bring everybody back next year. I just don't buy that they're going to win 8 straight games to end the season. Like, it just seems impossible given what we've seen from this team.
It would be pretty crazy. They got 6 games left. Here's what I think we should do, Solana. let us draft. You and me.
Mm-hmm.
We go back and forth.
Okay.
I'm going to be a gentleman. I'm going to give you first pick.
Oh, all right.
Most important games remaining of the 6 games. Could be most important. Could be toughest games you need to, that just need to show you something a little bit more. Of the 6 remaining games that we have, let's rank them. Let's draft them. Who would be your number 1 pick?
Pittsburgh on the road, Monday Night Football. Let me build the case for this one being the number 1 overall pick, okay? If you do beat the Saints and you beat the Jets, nobody, like 4-game win streak, fun, awesome. Nobody's celebrating that, though, in outside of the Dolphins. Like, nobody's looking at the Dolphins winning against Washington, against New Orleans, against New York, getting to 1 game below 500 and saying, wow, all right, look at Miami. I mean, it's just like, hey, you beat 3 really bad teams. Congrats. And you're still below 500. So here you go. 4-game win streak. Prime time, the Dolphins stink in prime time. Historically, in Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa era, they're not good in prime time. Monday Night Football, you're the only game on, and it's against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who will be playing for a playoff spot themselves with Aaron Rodgers. So let's just frame this, okay? Tua has to go up against Aaron Rodgers, even if it's ayahuasca era now, who has multiple fractures in his wrist. Prime time, Mike McDaniel has to go beat Mike Tomlin at Heinz Field. It's Acrisure Stadium, but I still call it Heinz Field.
It's not Heinz Field anymore?
It's not. Yeah, I think it's Acrisure Stadium, I believe.
The hell is that?
I have no idea, but it'll always be Heinz Field to me. It just everything you know about this team tells you, yeah, they're not winning that game. Mike McDaniel, Mike Tomlin, you'll take Mike Tomlin every time. Prime time, Monday night, cold weather game. You know it's going to be freezing temperature. Tua against Aaron Rodgers. Like, nobody's going to pick the Dolphins. Tobin, if they win that game, they're sitting at 500, and they're legitimately going to have a chance with 3 games remaining to make the playoffs. That, to me, has to be the number 1 most important game left on their schedule.
I'm going to go with the next week, and that is currently a Sunday Night Football game against Joe Burrow against the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I know the Bengals are no great shakes this year. They also have 4 wins. They're 4-8. But they got back Joey B. So that adds a lot of juice to a potential Sunday Night Football game. Now, look, if they lose at some point, potentially that game gets flexed if the Bengals have nothing to play for. But for right now, I think Joe Burrow versus Tua Tagovailoa, that's going to remain. And a lot of the same reasons. Like, look, you're taking on what people think of as an elite quarterback. Their defense not very great. Primetime game. This is essentially, it could be who's staying in the playoff hunt at this point. And I just think that, to me, that's a really sexy game for the Dolphins. Even with the Bengals having the record that they are, if either one of these teams is going to stay alive and the defense continue to show hey, you guys are for real, that's probably going to be the best quarterback they take on the rest of the season until Drake May, considering the season Drake May has had. So I'm going with that. That's my number 1 overall pick is week 16 against the Bengals.
I like it. Look, Tua versus Joe Burrow, the storylines write themselves. And by the way, you're looking at the Cincinnati Bengals. I know they're all the way down in terms of in the hunt, but they can still win their division, as crazy as that sounds. They're 4-8, and the AFC North, the winner of the AFC North is going to have 9 wins. Period. End of story. Probably. The Ravens, I mean, man, they looked really bad the other day against the Bengals, and now the Bengals beat them. The Steelers are playing with Aaron Rodgers, who half of his arm is not even connected the way it properly should be. So that, the division winner there is going to have 9 wins. And Tobin, if you think about it, if the Dolphins, by some grace of God, do get to 500 and have won 5 straight, they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Bengals are going to be sitting there saying, thank you, Miami. You just did us a massive solid. And then, man, Tua versus the Bengals. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? To get to above 500? That's big time, bro.
What's your number 2 pick?
Tampa Bay.
Really? Oh, wow. Okay.
Tampa
Surprising.
Bay.
Okay.
Tampa Bay. Yeah. I mean, look, we're just kind of assuming here that New Orleans and New York are victories, are we not? Because let's be honest, if they're not, then none of these games are big games anymore. Right? Like if you're not beating the Saints today and you're not beating the Jets next week in New York, then forget about Pittsburgh and Cincinnati being big games. Like that's it. The season's done anyways. So I'm just assuming these are victories. Tampa Bay, in my opinion, if Baker Mayfield's back, this is a Bucs team. They beat bad teams. That's what they do. They've been successful against some quality teams, but over the past couple weeks, because of all the injuries, they've kind of regressed a little bit. I know Baker's been banged up, but they beat bad teams. They're good enough to where they'll compete against the top teams in the NFL, but they're going to take care of the lower quality opponents that they face. Both of these teams, second to final week of the season, are going to be in a position, we think, to secure a playoff spot or put themselves in a position to be in the playoffs. And I think that could be a true test for the Dolphins. Like Mike McDaniel, win this and you might be in. Can he pull that out? Can he write up a game plan, draw up a game plan for a win potentially in scenario? That to me matters, So Tampa Bay, number 2 on my big board.
Wow. I wouldn't have gone with that. I would have had, I don't know if I believe in Tampa Bay. I think that they had like a lot of early season mojo. They had a lot of injuries. I don't know if I almost feel like I think the Dolphins should take care of business in that game. I really do. I think they were like a darling early. I just don't know if I believe in them as much. But listen, no issue with it.
No, but they're still a playoff team, Tobin, only because of their
understand.
Division. Only because of their division. I'm not telling you that they're Super Bowl contenders, but I think when they're healthy, they can pretty much beat anybody. Like think about the teams that they either hung with or beat at the start of the season. All late in games. I realize that. Like it took Baker heroics, but they have some really impressive wins.
I am going to go. I'm gonna go with today's game. Today's game. Because unless you win this game, none of the rest of them matter.
That's fine. Yeah.
If you don't win today, the rest of them don't matter. And if they don't take care of business and they don't kick ass today, Solana, like Perk said, the vibes are as high as possible. The vibes are immaculate right now. Nobody wants to get fired. You're just coming off of the bye week, and I don't think next week can matter until you take care of business this week. I know that there's a lot more obstacles next week with maybe the weather and whatnot, but I'm going to go with today. Today is my number 2 pick for most important game.
So you're doing no look aheads.
No look aheads. You got TCB.
No look aheads. Task at hand. After you already looked ahead and called Cincinnati the most important game, I'll ride with you, Tobin. The Dolphins need a statement win today. It's statement win time.
Yes.
Inspire some damn confidence. You're coming off the bye week. You're going up against a team that wants to lose games. Like the Saints want the number 1 overall pick. Inspire some damn confidence today at home in what's going to be a monsoon.
Crazy. All right, what's your final pick?
So I want to do New England. I want to do that. But, man, I have a feeling the Patriots are in that final game of the season are going to be resting everybody. Like, what are they playing for the 1 seed? Maybe, but you kind of feel like their schedule is so easy the rest of the way that they'll have that locked up. So I think the Jets will be my final game. Next week, I'm assuming the Dolphins are going to win today. I'm assuming they're going to beat the Jets. But here's why I'm picking the Jets, because don't lose to the Jets. Please, for the love of everything. Don't make the playoffs this year. Fine. Like I can reconcile with that with the way this season started. But your season ending on December 7th because you lose to Justin Fields and the Jets, I can't stomach that. I can't. I won't stomach it. Don't lose to the Saints. Don't lose to the Jets. All the other teams are playoff caliber teams. The Jets and the Saints ending your season and us not being able to go into late December just with some hope, Tobin, sipping on that hope juice. because you lost to the effing Jets. Don't do that to me, Dolphins. Don't do that to me, Tua. Don't do that to me, Mike McDaniel. Take care of the bad teams.
I feel like I suckered you in because now I got the New England game. I feel like I rope-a-doped you. I thought for sure you were going to take the New England game. All right, I'll take the New England game. Look, I'm looking at it right now. So the New England Patriots, they got the Giants Monday Night Football this week. I think Jackson Dart is back. Bye week. That's a late bye week. Bye week. Then they got Bills, Ravens, Jets, and then the Dolphins to finish. Bills and Ravens are going to be fighting for their life. They are getting more banged up. So I do think that I can't exactly rule out the potential that they're going to be playing for something. I know that they've got a pretty good grip on it, but depending on where the Broncos are at by the end of this year and whatnot. So I still think there's a lot to prove with that game. Cold weather game, you would assume, on the road. That's always a proving point for Tua. And Mike Vrabel's kind of had Tua's number. You kind of go back to that game, Solana, where they beat the Dolphins, and it's hard to stomach that game because you're like, man, you had your opportunities. You had your chances in that game that went kind of crazy, all the kickoff returns and whatnot. The special teams touchdowns were, man, if they could have just kept him from getting the kickoff after Malik Washington's return, where would this that maybe it would have put the season at a different vantage point. I don't know. But last week of the season, maybe if this matters at all, I think that's a fine one. So there you go. Those are our rankings of the most important remaining 6 games. Dan, anything like if you had a most important game or a couple that stand out of the last 6, which would you go with?
Today's game against the Saints.
Just got to win the next one.
2 reasons. Number 1, those are my 2 favorite teams growing up in New Orleans. Now I'm a Miami guy. Number 2, you don't have an 8-game winning streak. You don't stay in the hunt. You don't get to the playoffs without winning the one right here. And even if you don't win by a great margin, you instill more confidence in your team and maybe you figure some things out. So all this talk about, how we can finish the season, let's finish today first.
Hey, Dan. Hey, it's time for you to pick a team. Enough with my 2 favorite teams. You got to pick a side here, bud. Today, let's go. I'm putting you on the spot. You got to pick a side.
You already know.
Boom. Great answer.
He was Leroy's got like 5 teams, so he's got a ton of teams. He's got Dolphins.
He did play for some teams.
Yeah, no, I understand. He's got a lot. He's got the Dolphins. He's got the Saints. He's got the Browns. He's got the Ravens. He's got the Vikings. Even the Panthers still send him stuff.
Hey, Tobin, I got to give a shout out, man, to Dolphins fans. So, Big Ian, who was fan of the year a couple years ago.
Yep.
Really good dude. He just posted a video from the tailgate. And you know how you're out there, you got the tents, but then when it starts raining, the tents just kind of get like bogged down with water. So you got to just push the water off the tent. And all you see in this video is just water flowing down from the sides of the tents because of how bad the rain has been over the past couple hours. Dolphins fans, I mean, if you're tailgating, you probably got music going, but some of you maybe are listening to us. Shout out to you, man. Like if you're out there tailgating outside, still trying to barbecue, still trying to get the good vibes going before going into Hard Rock Stadium, shout out to you, man. Those are tough conditions to be out there. Even for South Floridians, that's tough.
Crazy, man. We'll take a break here on Game Day Uncensored. More to come. We're back after this.
Hey, we want to hear what you have to say.
Let's get back to Game Day Uncensored. The pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM as your Miami Dolphins are getting set to take on the New Orleans Saints. Omar Kelly going to join us at the top of next hour, and we'll get our list here of actives and inactives getting ready for this matchup. But let's get to some keys to the game brought to you by Edmore Sawgrass Auto Mall. Shop exceptional Cadillac offers now, the 3-time Cadillac Dealer of the Year, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Visit EdmoreSawgrassCadillac.com. You're always backed by Morse. This Saints team, Solana, coming into this game 2-9, not very good. Their defense, though, is ranked 11th in yards per game, 22nd in points per game, and a lot of veterans on that defensive side of the football. You got Cam Jordan, been doing it forever, has 4.5 sacks on the season. You got Carl Granderson, who also has 4.5 sacks. They got former number 2 overall pick Chase Young. So some guys who can get after a little bit on that defensive line. They got linebacker Demario Davis, got over 100 tackles this year. So not, they got some players on that side of the football that the Dolphins have to be aware of. This was Tua earlier in the week, just discussing the veterans on the defensive side of the ball.
They have a lot of veterans on that side of the ball, and having a lot of veterans, having guys that have seen a lot of football, that have played a lot of football. You got guys that have played together for some time as well. They know how to operate. They kind of know, okay, if I go here, I know I'm going to trust that you're going to be there. And I think the camaraderie that they have defensively is what makes them successful in, trying to minimize as much points as they can from their opposing team's offense. And so, yeah, that's what I see when I look at their defense. They play hard. They play with a chip on their shoulder, and they play together, really.
So there you go. Dolphins getting ready for this matchup, and obviously need to get a good start against them and try and take care of the football.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is a team that they're not going to beat you with their offense, so their defense has to make plays. So if you're the Dolphins today, the weather. Very, very good chance that the weather's going to be tough. This is one of those where it's going to be a little sloppy, but you don't want to lose the turnover battle. I think it's really as simple as that. I was just looking at some of the offensive numbers because I had mentioned to you earlier, Tobin, that the Saints, they've been held under 20 points in their last 6 games. That's the longest streak right now in the NFL of not getting above 20 or more points. We know that the Dolphins can't stop the run. That's been an issue this season. It's been a little bit better, but that's been an issue this season. The Saints, according to CBS, have the worst have an NFL worst 3 rushing touchdowns this season. 45 different players across the league entered with at least that many, and none of the Saints' last 120 carries have reached the end zone. Their last rushing touchdown, you have to go back to October 12th. Tobin, listen to me. The Saints' last rushing touchdown, October 12th, and it wasn't even from a running back. It was a 1-yarder from Taysom Hill. This team can't run the football. They have a rookie quarterback who they don't even feel is good. They just made the change because Spencer Rattler was losing games. And you have a downpour at Hard Rock Stadium. The Dolphins defense should cook today.
One would think, but
what was that? Hold on. No.
I don't know.
Listen to what I just told you.
I understand.
They don't trust their quarterback to make plays with his arm. They don't.
Understandably so.
You have awful conditions that are the complete opposite that you want for throwing the football. So what do you have to do as a team? You have to lean on the run game. And this team has not scored a touchdown running the football since October 12th, which was a loss to the New England Patriots. That was week 6. We're in week 13. The Dolphins should handle this team. Like
they should.
It's not even because they're better and their roster's better. I'm talking about today specifically because of the conditions. The Dolphins defense should cook today.
We would hope, but we have also seen this has been the slump buster for all running games this year. It has been an issue, Solana. So even if it is against an unknown rookie running back, he's got no touchdowns. He hasn't really done anything. Devin Neal, who I think also was a little banged up this week in practice, but hey, guy had some monster numbers in college. I mean, like he did. He put up some big stuff for the Jayhawks. They had 50 total touchdowns, 1,300 rushing yards the last couple of years. Like, we just don't know. I mean, he hasn't really got the chance because you're behind, kind of a franchise icon for them in Alvin. Is Alvin Kamara a franchise icon? Has he reached that status? I feel like he has.
He's got to be since Drew Brees, right, Dan? The most famous or the most like beloved. Maybe Taysom Hill's like the only other guy just because he's like novelty, but it's got to be Alvin Kamara.
So like you're behind a legend, so you're not really getting that kind of run. Like, I'm just a little scared. I'm scared of the unknown almost because it's like you don't know, and I feel like that we've come into these games assuming, Dolphins are getting a break with the running back being out, and it's bit him in the ass a couple of times this year.
They do have, of course, a guy named Kool-Aid on their team.
Which
the
is
New
cool.
Orleans Saints do, which is cool. Yeah. We had Storm Duck. That was our claim to fame this year. They've got Kool-Aid McKinstry. That's much cooler.
And then, of course, a really good receiver in Chris Olave. Their tight end's been pretty decent this year. Juwan Johnson, he's got the 4th most yards by a tight end this year. He is 6th in catches, so he's also been a pretty capable target. But again, you got a rookie running back, a rookie quarterback, 3 TDs, 3 INTs, and Tyler Shuck. Doesn't spell his name that way, though. Very weird. So, yeah, I agree, Solana. Like, this should be a game that they take care of business, and you would think. And that's kind of what I would like to see. I would like the Dolphins to walk in with a little bit of a swagger today and show themselves. I just don't know. I don't know that they're that. I don't know that they're that guy that could show or push around anybody.
I agreed with you because even earlier when we had Chris Perkins on and I asked him, hey, what about this Saints team scares you? And he said, it's not about what the Saints do or don't do. It's about what the Dolphins are capable of doing to themselves. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. We know, like that Commanders game, it was a lot of the same on the offensive side of the football, a lot of the same mistakes that killed the Dolphins. I mean, you had Mike McDaniel using a penalty on the very first play of the game, or I'm sorry, a timeout on the very first play of the game. You had miscommunication from the sideline to the quarterback and to the play calling. You had penalties that were just self-inflicted wounds. Like, I realize the Dolphins are a team that are very susceptible to all those things that hurt themselves. But with all that being said, these are conditions that are conducive to running the football and winning the turnover battle. And the Saints can't run the football, gentlemen. The Saints struggle with running the football more than they struggle with anything else. So this has to be a game where the Dolphins, who are running the football well over the past 4 games, lean on that, lean on protecting the football, and go out there and dominate, man. Like that to me has to be the key here. And if the Saints can't run the football and they don't trust Tyler Shuck at throwing the football, how are they going to move the ball? I don't know.
I got distracted because Chris Perkins has tweeted out a video of Robert Prince, and he says, rain is falling hard at Hard Rock Stadium. Wide receiver coach Robert Prince, standing at the 30-yard line, has whipped off his shirt and did jumping jacks. He's still shirtless at 60 years old. That guy is full of energy.
Tobin, there was something else I wanted to because I didn't realize this, and I think it was Perk who had tweeted this video. Let me pull it up here really quickly. He said, Aaron Brewer, this is about 48 minutes ago, right after he hung up with us. Rain is falling at Hard Rock Stadium. Center Aaron Brewer doing his barefoot pregame walk undeterred. Did you know Aaron Brewer had a pregame barefoot routine?
Had no idea. But I will tell you, it would be fun to just, like, that's great grass. You ever step on a pitch barefoot?
For sure.
With some great grass. It's
sure.
A good feeling.
It is. It definitely one of the better feelings when you're out there and you just kind of walking on some nice turf.
Just feels good, dude. It feels really good. So I understand why Aaron Brewer would do something like that.
I just had no idea.
I had no idea either. You just want to be. He's like he's catching in the Everglades. You want to be one with the earth, you know. We had that guy on one time on the radio show, Dusty Crumb. He goes and catches pythons. He doesn't wear shoes. He doesn't wear shoes in the Everglades. He wants to be one with the earth.
That guy's an idiot.
Well, I mean, it's his method. I can't knock his method. Would I do it? No. It seems like a crazy way to make a living, but this is a crazy man who lives in the Everglades and catches Burmese python. It's insane. Insane behavior. All right, we'll take a break here on Gameday Uncensored. We should get our active and inactive list officially from both squads, and we'll dive into that. Omar Kelly going to join us at the top of next hour. Back more after this.
The pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Let's get to our actives and actives brought to you by JM Lexus. The December to remember is here at JM Lexus, a JD Power dealer of excellence winner for 5 consecutive years. Save up to $2,000 with no dealer fee now at JM Lexus. No surprises, Solana, on the inactive list for your Miami Dolphins. You got Quinn Ewers as the emergency third QB. Cornerback AJ Green III is inactive. Linebacker Andre Carter II is inactive. Taj Washington is inactive. And defensive tackle Matthew Butler is inactive.
2 things there. 1, Taj Washington, no surprise. 2nd, Tobin, when you saw the push notification that the Dolphins had signed AJ Green, were you also like me before you realized there was another AJ Green and we're like, all right, I guess that's the route we're going with? AJ Green,
of
the
Bengals fame?
old wide receiver. Yeah.
No, I did not. I did not even realize. I got to be honest with you. I might have been one of those that slipped under the Thanksgiving. I didn't even realize that we had another cornerback. Again, is this the guy that we got for Juju Brents when Juju got hurt?
Yeah.
Rasul Douglas is good to go today.
Right. The main thing, Rasul Douglas active and Austin Jack. Sound the alarm. It's week 13, ladies and gentlemen. And finally, 4/5 of our offensive line is back. 4/5 of the starting offensive line is back. Welcome back, Austin Jackson. I don't know if that means he'll start, by the way. It just means he's active. And Darren Waller, officially active.
You think he won't start? You think they'll just have him there as an emergency? Like he's riding with he loves Larry Borum that much?
Well, I don't know. I mean, like, do you immediately put him back out there? I guess if he's active, he's got to be 100%.
What's he gonna play? What do you mean? Is that when we put him out there? You kidding me?
Maybe we're gonna go with 7 offensive linemen. Tobin, you bring in Daniel Brunskill and you bring in Austin Jackson as a special package. No,
I never thought about it like that.
I'm teasing, but I don't know. I mean, you said it yourself. There seemed to have been some cohesion with the offensive line. I'm not suggesting Larry Borum is the better option over Austin Jackson. I'm just not sure if you start him immediately. I don't know. Yeah,
look, I mean, I feel bad because Larry Borum's in this spot where it's like, hey, he was awful to start the season. I mean, just god awful. That entire right side was, but they found something. Cole Strange, who they got very late, has picked it up, and now we're in a spot where they've been working together. But all in all, like you invested in the guy. You do think of him as a talent. I'd be surprised if they didn't have him out there playing. Chris Olave, by the way, is active for the Saints. So they do have their star wide receiver, who also, I mean, probably outside of Tua, is got the gnarliest concussion past in the league. So good to see them.
For some reason, people nationally don't take as much issue with him playing after concussions as they do with Uno. But whatever.
There's been a lot of concussions this year. Nobody's talked about it. Tua is the only guy they've talked about concussions with.
Only
it's
guy.
Crazy.
Only guy. That's it.
Even like Jackson Dart, they kind of like laughed about it. They're just like, he's got concussions. Oh, sorry.
The coach literally, or the ex-coach in New York, Brian Daboll, literally went into the blue tent and berated the team doctors for not letting Jackson Dart come out with a concussion. And everybody's like, that's just football. That's just tough-minded football. That's what happens on the gridiron. Unless your name is Tua Tagovailoa, and if you get touched, people are calling for him to retire.
Did you are you following it all, by the way? Just as a little off the beaten path, but some people wanted this guy to be the Dolphins coach when they were looking at possible replacements. But are you watching what's going on with Lane Kiffin? How Lane Kiffin is yet again having a terrible breakup?
It's insane. I just read right now, Tobin, a report from a writer who's saying that the team officials at Ole Miss, so the athletic director and whatever officials at Ole Miss are putting together like a plan to literally have interim coaches because they think Lane Kiffin is trying to steal players from Ole Miss now and like sabotage the end of the season insane what's going on. He's gonna end up being the most hated person in the history at Ole Miss from one day to the next.
Yeah, he's got multiple schools in the conference that he's got this with, because he did the same thing at Tennessee.
Yeah, look, this is Neil McCready, who apparently covers college football. He writes, per a source, Ole Miss Leadership Council is on its way to Lane Kiffin's office at the Manning Center. Players are unhappy with Kiffin, and that's putting it mildly. Ole Miss is deciding the machinations of an interim staff with either Pete Golding or Joe Judge leading.
That's crazy. Like, this is insane. And so, like, because he's going to LSU, I don't understand, though, like, why, because he was going to go to Florida, and Florida just hired the Tulane coach, not Lane Kiffin. But this guy was going to go to Florida, and then all of a sudden LSU steps in here. They're like, wait, Lane, to LSU. But why is this such, like, why not just do this after the season? I don't understand this. Like, why is this part of the gamesmanship of the SEC? Because if you want him to be your coach, he's got enough pull where it's not like Lane Kiffin has to hit the recruiting trail right away. What's 4 weeks going to make a difference? Why can't he just go coach and everybody have a normalcy? This is insane drama. It's almost like you want to throw a Molotov cocktail in all your work, and it's personal by how this breakup has gone with Ole Miss.
It doesn't make any sense. I didn't realize it. Like, I thought it was an NCAA. I don't know if it, like, law or rule that if you're going to leave, you have to leave before the bowl. But I guess you're right. Like, this is LSU saying, no, you got to come now. But I don't understand that from the perspective of, are you really recruiting players while the college football playoff is going on? Like, I don't know. I don't know how that stuff works. But if he were to go on and win the college football playoff with Ole Miss, or at the very least go deep into the college football playoff, wouldn't that only help him land players for wherever he's going to be coming up in 2 months? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's on the national stage. He's in the public eye at the college football playoff. Even if he's representing another school, who cares? Hey, now I'm coming over here.
Well, that's the thing that's funny, is now it seems like there's some back and forth about, his Kirk Herbstreit and Nick Saban, who are repped by the same people. They're like, oh, come on, you should let him coach. You should let him do this. And they're like, that he's using this ESPN PR. But look, forever and always, okay, I guess outside of FAU, this guy's really bad at exits. I mean, he's probably, maybe, like, other than Jimmy Butler, he might be the worst at breakups in the history of sports. I think that's the list. I think, like, it's Jimmy Butler and Lane Kiffin is like, how do I make it not only bad, but the most toxic? Because I remember, like, back with the Al Davis breakup with him. And then you had the Tennessee one where they were, like, standing outside his office. Like, it seemed dangerous.
Bad.
That was bad.
Yeah, bad.
And then, I just brought this all up just because, like, one, it's very juicy. It's hilarious. But second, like, there were people who were like, I would take Lane Kiffin as Dolphins head coach. Would you? Like, obviously got some. This guy has really bad accountability issues.
But it sounds like the entire team has just basically said, we don't want this guy to be our coach anymore for the college.
How could you? He's very immature. Could you imagine this guy being the head coach of the Miami Dolphins?
Oh,
like, what?
I can't stand that. The John Gruden stuff is just outrageous to me, Tobin. I know we've talked about it a little bit, but everybody that is dying for John Gruden because his videos on Barstool Sports are fun. Like, you have to be nuts to think John Gruden.
He's been a sneaky Dolphins believer.
No, for sure. But his videos are fun. That's the only reason why people want him to be a head coach. He's got zero resume over the past 15 years to be considered for a head coaching position. Like, he hasn't had a winning season in 15 years. Think about that.
I just think this thing is crazy. This is a wild thing. Dan, because you're at LSU, like, is that your team you would consider?
My alma mater, yeah.
Yeah, your alma mater. So, like, are you excited about Lane Kiffin taking over, or are you nervous about this guy because of his lack of accountability?
Yay.
Yeah, right? Like, it's just one of these. You just had Brian Kelly, who's just not a great guy.
No.
Not a great guy.
You replace his character with someone as bad of character. and sells his team out and his players out.
But Lane's got aura. You have to agree with that. Lane's got aura. He's got like a certain swagger to how he does things.
He knows how to use Twitter. Like, that's it.
No, stop it, dude.
He's
good. He's good at recruiting. He's gonna bring in really good players. And bro, he turned Ole Miss into a title contender. I mean, that's what LSU's dying.
Title contender. Like, they're a nice team. They're
ranked 4th in the country, Tobin.
Come on, enough.
I'll tell you what, they're not begging the committee to throw him a bone like the Hurricanes are.
Obviously, he loves it so much. He's like, oh, they're a title contender. I need to get the hell out of here.
If you've ever been to Oxford, Mississippi, you'd know.
That's fair. I understand. I remember him saying that on Levitar. How much he's like, oh, there's a brown lake or something like that in the after you were just in Boca with turquoise ocean and all that. I get it, but this is crazy to be this bad at responsibility, and now I think he's the only guy who can just pull it off like this. I think he loves it. He loves the drama of all of this. But I do say all this, like with the Dolphins situation, I don't know who the good replacement would be for Mike McDaniel. Now, it's not a good reason for him to just keep his job. He's got to still prove that he's earning the job. But I don't think there's a lot of great candidates out there right now off the top of my head who are just like, yeah, that's the home run selection there, which is why people go to the John Gruden thing, because they're just like, yeah, Gruden. It's like, no, he cannot be your coach in the year 2025 going to 26. You got to have something else that is going to be your brain trust for this football program.
Hey, how about Ben Johnson ripping off his shirt in the Chicago Bears locker room after that win against the Eagles yesterday or on Friday? There was some swagger to that entire situation too, man. Like, that's what people want. They want the young head coach. That's what Mike McDaniel was supposed to be.
They were very fired up the last speech. He's been very giddy with the speeches lately.
Yeah.
So that's good. I'm happy that the team has the high vibes right now, and he's giving out the game balls like crazy. That's his thing. He says he's the Oprah of game balls. I love that he's got that awareness about him. But he's got to have this team on some kind of a run to show that he's for sure the dude. I don't think that it doesn't feel like he's in a ton of danger right now, because I just don't believe that Stephen Ross wants to be stuck in the breeze just with like, oh, let's go find somebody else, go get me Shula's grandkid from LA. Like, you can't have that kid coach the Dolphins. I'm sorry. Like, it's just, you can't. I'm too nervous about him tarnishing the name. He might be amazing, but I'm too nervous about it being like, oh, we're going to bring him in here. Could you imagine trying to fill the shoes? Imagine like Pat Riley's grandkid is replacing Eric Spoelstra, like down the road. Like, that's what?
Insane.
It was already crazy when Spo had to replace Pat Riley.
Yeah. Insane. I don't like that idea either. But Tobin, that probably isn't going to end up being the case, because I don't think Mike McDaniel's going anywhere, man.
I don't either. It feels like he's charmed his way. He's Stephen Ross's new guy. He's like, I love this guy, man. He's quirky. He's nice. He's got great shoes. It's not to like.
Always has a nice shoes on. Always.
It's his thing. But I'm sorry, I had to deter. This Lane Kiffin thing is getting crazy.
Oh, no, understood. I've been following this thing all morning, and I couldn't believe I'm watching. I mean, they're like planning a coup. The locker room's planning a coup to just oust Lane Kiffin before he even decides publicly what he wants to do. That's phenomenal.
Well, because they know, like this guy's definitely leaving, and we're like, we're not going to let you just do that to us. What are you talking about? And then he's just going to be like, so is he going to like try and bribe these kids with pre-NIL to leave?
Yeah, I mean, that's what it sounds like, which is why the entire like leadership council had to take action here, because it sounds like he's trying to rally up some support of, hey, we'll do this again next year, but we'll do it at Tiger Stadium. How does that sound?
That's crazy. All right, we'll take a break. Omar Kelly, Miami Dolphins columnist from the Miami Herald. He joins us next.
WQAM, broadcasting live from the Ed Moore Sawgrass Auto Mall Studios. Shop massive savings up
he wanted to make the most of the bye week, but there was work to be done.
We have a very identifiable cadence to our work week that the pillars of the team, the captains and the leadership council won't settle for something that shortchanges what we know that to look like, so that we can focus on our football against the one opponent that you have scheduled to play and treating them with a full regard, which in this case would be the New Orleans Saints.
And as for that 2-game winning streak, Zach Sealer says it's time to move on.
Past the past, learn from it. I mean, even though we won, there's lots to clean up and do it better next week. If you keep doing that, hopefully it leads the right direction.
Home cooking today for the Fins. We're going to break it all down on Gameday Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans, with Tobin and Solana, Omar Kelly and Chris Perkins on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami's sports leader.
Gameday Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM is brought to you by the Lexus TX. Room for all your passions in 3 rows of luxurious comfort. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. By Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet. When it comes to scoring a rugged new truck, Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet is the MVP of selection. Visit EdmoreSawgrassChevrolet.com and start shopping today. Remember, you're always backed by Morse. And by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business. A 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Brendan Tobin alongside Alejandro Solana here with you for one more hour as get you ready for Dolphins and Saints. As the Dolphins are back from the bye week, Hard Rock Stadium, as they take on this lowly New Orleans Saints team. Don't lose, dude. Do not lose to this team. Let's talk to Omar Kelly, who joins us. You guys can follow his work at the Miami Herald. Hello, Omar. How are you?
I am good. I'm getting ready to be wet. It's a wet, gloomy, muggy, slick track day, so I'm curious to see what the football is going to look like.
You feel like this Dolphins team, you know, coming into this, they know what they got to do, which is pretty much if they're going to make some run, probably run the table. But you feel like after getting the win against the Commanders, as mind-numbing as the end of that game was, and then getting to the bye, getting some reinforcements, do you feel like they got the capability, Omar, to be that kind of consistent to actually make some noise the back third of this season?
They'll do the That's So Dolphin thing, which is get you excited to let you down. Yeah. That's just consistent. That's 20 years history.
Can't wait, Omar. Can't wait. I'm ready. I'm ready to have my heart broken again.
Yeah. The one thing I've learned about this team is they play to the level of their competition. If their competition is generally high, with the exception of probably Baltimore or Indianapolis, or, you know, they don't necessarily play. They didn't play to the level of that competition, but everybody else, they've pretty much played to the level of their competition. This is not a good Saints team. They're probably tanking. They've got no rudder in terms of where they're going, what they're doing, how they're going to fix this thing. That's just par for the course when you lose Sean Payton. And you know, they're on their second coach. But I will say this Dolphin team is one of those teams that they shoot themselves in the foot. Nobody beats them. They beat themselves. Now, according to Mike McDaniel, they have found and created a recipe in practice and the work preparation week that has led to success. It's led to 3 or 4 victories. Now, the one exception was the Baltimore loss, but in Mike's defense, or he's used this as an excuse, they weren't able to do their prep week stuff because that was a Thursday night game. They didn't really get to practice. They didn't really get to prepare for the game. And truthfully speaking, it was a non-division opponent, which is just, you never see that. A non-division opponent for a Thursday night game. Like that's never ever the case. You always see a divisional game. But those are all excuses. Now, they've had their full prep week. They've had a really good week of practice, according to Mike. They're getting Darren Waller back. They're getting Austin Jackson back. Guys are a lot healthier. The question is, will they execute and take care of business? And, now it's a sloppy game. It's going to be a rainy game. But truth be told, and I heard Solana saying this, the Saints can't run, and they don't have their top back, and they've got injuries on their offensive line. Your offensive line has been greased up, having some real success underneath their huge package, which is what they call the Brunskill. Nobody's figured out a solution for it yet. Now you have actually 2 targets for Tua Tagovailoa. It's not just the Jalen Waddle and Devon Achane. He's actually got Darren Waller back into the equation. So celebration time. And Devon Achane is healthy right now. So let's continue to ride that train. He's 100 yards away from being a 1,000-yard back for the first time in his career. I'm sure he's super excited about that. And the team wants to get him there for it. Now, these 2 games should be the layups. They should be the layups, the bunny hops of the schedule. Then it gets serious against Pittsburgh. If you can't, you can't drop the ball in these situations.
So, Omar, I mean, you agree with me then? Like this formula to win today specifically, I'm with you. The Dolphins, if they're going to lose a game like this, it's because they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot. But this game here is simple. Just don't turn the ball over. Lean on Devon Achane. Lean on the running game. And the Saints really don't have a lot of options to beat the Dolphins here.
They've got a good offensive line, so I'm sorry. They've got a good defense and defensive front, but that's about it. You're right. They don't have much to offer. There's not much bite they can give. But this team is a team where they've beaten themselves up with turnovers, and truthfully speaking, that's really not Tua's game. You haven't seen that for 6 years. Yes, he turns the ball over in bunches, but you haven't seen multiple games where he's turned the ball over in bunches. He's never led the NFL in interceptions in his career. However, this is just so happens to be the year. But I do expect Tua to clean up his game. We all know who he is. He's not a superstar, but he's consistent. He's efficient. And I do expect him to get back to that at some point this season.
So them getting Austin Jackson back, is he right back into the starting lineup? And then, are we nervous at all about this? Or, because the Dolphins have been actually, having everybody together for a little bit on that offensive line. Larry Borum hasn't been terrible, right? So are they, is this a good thing? Is this a good thing to get Austin Jackson back and rock the chemistry?
Austin Jackson is considered their best offensive lineman outside of Aaron Brewer. He is considered their leader. He is certainly a force in the run game. So that should help. Now, will he be greased up and ready to go? We don't know. But it shouldn't be that hard to improve on Larry Borum. Even though Larry Borum, I got to stop being disrespectful because he's really played to the point where he has not been a liability. He's been an asset. And I did not expect to see that from him at this point in the season, but props to him for cleaning up his game. Cole Strange has been pretty good. We're getting less mistakes from Jonah Savaiinaea. Patrick Paul, you guys see it. That's a franchise left tackle right there. That's $100 billion player. Just let's make sure he stays healthy for the duration of his career. But the offensive line is really with Brunskill. Once they went to that jumbo, they call it huge package or jump. I can't remember what they call it. It is. I think they call it huge package.
They really got to the lab with that one.
Yeah. The 6 offensive linemen has been a godsend for this team. It has been. They found it out of a desperation. And Mike has looked at it and thought about it and expanded upon it and has realized, Tua doesn't need 5 weapons. He needs 6 offensive linemen. The run game doesn't need 5. Why would I need a tailback to block if I can have an offensive lineman actually block? And really, and I'm just being honest with you, no team has figured out a recipe for it yet. And you just ride that and you keep expanding on it until somebody slaps you in the face with it and says, stop it. And then everybody else replicates that.
Omar,
right now it's going. It's greased up.
Who's under the most pressure the final 6 games of the season to succeed? Is it Mike McDaniel? I'll throw just some names at you. Is it Tua Tagovailoa? Is it Anthony Weaver? Is it Champ Kelly? I mean, I don't know how it could be, but I like who's under the most pressure to have a strong end of the season, because I think Mike McDaniel is the easiest one to pick there. But I don't know, like Tobin and I were saying earlier, we kind of think his job's safe anyway. So in your opinion,
I'm not in the Mike McDaniel's job is safe, and here's the reason I say that. Let's say they lose 4 of the next 6 games, and they finish the season 8-9, which is the status quo. Can you really sell that if you're Steve Ross and Tom Garfinkel? Can you really sell that to this fan base? So I don't think it's a layup. Maybe if they win 5 of 6 games, Mike's going to be safe, and we'll run this back one more year and pray we get healthy and whatever, the miracles that need to happen for the Dolphins to actually have a good season all the time. To me, who's under the most pressure would probably be Anthony Weaver, because this time, if we would have thought about this season, we would expect a top 10 defense that has not been anything close to what he's delivered, and he'd be positioning himself to become a head coach somewhere. And the way this defense has performed this season, there's no way he can be considered a head coach, because they've fallen short of expectations at every turn. And, this is a guy, there probably going to be a lot of openings, and he's one of the next guys in line. The question is, he's got to actually deliver. And I'm not necessarily certain that he's delivered upon expectations this year, and that's a problem. So to me, it's him. Tua's going to get his $54 million. There's nothing you could do about it. Like, you suck it up, big boys. Put your big boy panties on. Tua's going to get his $54 million. This is just the reality of the business of the NFL. You probably shouldn't have given him that extension, but that's what you had to do to basically keep your players happy. And did it turn out to be a mistake? Yeah, it did. Now the question is, can you do better than him? And I know every Dolphin fan is probably tired of Tua, but the truth of the matter is, okay, do better than him. Tell me who's better than him. Go get one better than him. And that's going to be very difficult, if not impossible to do.
It's also been interesting because
Russell Wilson, Derek Carr coming out of retirement, one of these unknown rookie draft picks you're going to reach and get in the first round, and you're really not even going to be in position to take the best one. None of these quarterbacks in college are as polished as Tua. None of them are even close to Tua's level.
Do you feel also like it doesn't feel like Mike McDaniel is leaning into it just being a Tua team anymore, right? Like, he finally is leaning more into, hey, this is Achane, maybe with a little mix of Ollie Gordon. Like, he feels like he's leaning more into the run than he ever has before, finally.
Well, he doesn't have Tyreek Hill. Let's start there. And Achane, he's always tried to lean into the run. He's never really stayed committed to it. And truthfully speaking, Tua is at his best when he is a play-action quarterback. Without the threat of the run, that's why when they have big deficits and they can't run the ball, you're going to see everybody jump into his routes because it's very easy to play him. Now, the question is, that's when Tua loses. When Tua is trailing by 4 and he has to throw the ball 80 yards down the field and has no deception of the run game, you're tough sledding. But Tua's a great quarterback when he plays against the lead. Tua's a good quarterback to bet on because of the efficiency, the level of success he has. When he has a lead, he generally holds on to it and he generally extends the lead. Now, that has not necessarily happened a lot this year because of number of circumstances, the turnover games, the struggles with the run game early in the season, the loss of Tyreek, the loss of tight ends. I mean, we played a month. You guys realize we played a month with 2 offensive weapons, right? 2. Those. Like, everybody else on this team sucks. Those.
He's not wrong.
No, you're not. But has Jalen Waddle, though, in your eyes, Omar, has he kind of emerged as, the wide receiver one that everybody was hoping he would be since Tyreek Hill's gone out? Has he done enough in that role for you to say, hey, next season he could be the Dolphins' top target, and you feel comfortable with that?
I don't think he's a Pro Bowl caliber player. I don't think he's a game changer. I think he's a wide receiver you've got to prep for, you've got to evaluate, you got to scout for. But he needs a compliment. He needs somebody on the opposite side because really, he's at his best when he's running slant routes and he's able to, execute, get the ball down. He's able to get down the field or catch a slant in stride and then turn on the afterburners or run a comeback or run a deep dig. He's not a playmaker. Can you say he's a playmaker?
I think he's a playmaker, but I don't think he's. I mean, like I do worry. Like I remember, like the end of those games, like he still gets those big drops every now and then. You're just like, come on, dude. Like this is insane. You are supposed to be elite, but obviously, yeah, he's got game-changing speed every once in a while. But I don't think he's Tyreek Hill. Like I think this idea that he was going to take the torch and move on after the Cheetah's career was up. Like I don't think he's that. I don't think he's. Oh my God, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen on a football field.
Yeah, he doesn't run Tyreek's routes. He didn't in an ideal world, you just put him in Tyreek's routes and everything will be solved and you find somebody else to run slants, but that's not what they did. And I understand why that's not what they did. The beauty of him is, him and Tua have a great chemistry and Tua can throw those dangerous balls to him and he can catch them. Whereas, like what the hell have you seen from Nick Westbrook-Akine or, Malik Washington or Julian Hill or, like you can't count on anybody else. You could at least count on Tyreek and hell, we've got Devon Achane playing the slot most of the season.
It's gonna be really once Brunskill catches a touchdown, that's the end of Julian Hill, isn't it?
Once Brunskill catches a touchdoll,
yeah, like they'll do a trick play where Brunskill's out there and he catches the touchdown, looking at Julian Hill, being like, "I did it, dude."
they still love Julian Hill. Julian Hill is still a productive player. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Julian Hill is still in line. Yeah, I like what they're doing. I definitely like what they're doing. So sick. Okay. Hello. Sorry. I'm trying to park. Yeah, I'm here. This weather is just crazy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Wait, are you saying, Omar, were you saying Nick Westbrook-Akine, he's still on this team?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Oh, all right. All right. Yeah, I wasn't sure.
My man. Yeah. It's like you got to park yourself and shit right here. Hey, how you doing? This place is, you know what happens in South Florida when it starts raining.
It gets crazy.
People don't know what to do. They don't know how to act. They don't know how to drive. So it's like, and these attendants, they don't want to do any work.
All right, buddy. Well, you get situated. Thanks for joining us, man, and we'll talk to you next time.
All right, talk to you guys later.
There you go, Omar Kelly. Go follow his work at the Miami Herald. Does a fantastic job. Appreciate him giving us some time. We'll take a break and continue Game Day Uncensored after this.
WQAM broadcasting live from the
Uncensored. The pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 1043 WQAM.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is Game Day Uncensored here, which is brought to you by Edmore Sawgrass Auto Mall. Shop massive savings on massive Chevy inventory, all backed by Morse at Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet. Visit EdmoreSawgrassChevrolet.com. Chevy, find new roads as the Miami Dolphins are getting set for the New Orleans Saints today at Hard Rock Stadium. And let's get into some possible plays for today's game. The Dolphins 5-point favorites, according to the Hard Rock Bet app, as the Saints roll into town. Let us get to our segment where we like to get into the action of this game. We like to call this Porpoise Props.
It's time for...
I don't know about you, but that looked like money.
Porpoise Props.
Hopefully you didn't jinx us.
All right, Solana. Dolphins and Saints. What are you liking today as far as some action is concerned for this game?
Unders because of the weather. Unders because it's going to be a little sloppy out there. I mean, just based on the videos we're seeing, Tobin, the rain is bad, man. It just is.
Yeah. Julian Hill up to plus 1,000. This could be the week. We're back.
All right.
Could be back.
Darren Waller is the decoy.
Darren Waller is back. Darren Waller is back. He's plus 230. Ollie Gordon plus 225. Ollie Gordon 2 touchdowns plus 1,300.
You think Ollie Gordon 2 touchdowns?
2 touchdowns. Scored a touchdown. That was the only guy to score a touchdown last game.
Mm-hmm.
We do get into a rough and tumble game. Dolphins like to punch it in. Ollie Gordon, I'm just saying 2 touchdowns for Ollie Gordon today.
Okay.
Takes it out of Devon Achan's hands. Just plus 1,300. That's all I'm saying. You know, if it intrigues you at all, I'm just throwing it out there. Devon Achan's plus 300 for 2 touchdowns. Jalen Waddle is plus 450 for 2 touchdowns.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Plus 300 for 2 touchdowns.
That's tough.
The Dolphins have scored 16 points last game.
I understand. I just saw, I was like, maybe. What about Darren Waller plus for 2 touchdowns? He's plus 1,500. Throwing the money away? Perhaps.
But that one I'd be more willing to take a flyer on just because we've seen it already. At plus 1,500, like why not? I'll take a little flyer on it. Devon Achan, I feel comfortable on him scoring 2 touchdowns in any game, but for plus 300, I mean, what are we doing here?
Not a lot of juice.
Nothing.
Yeah, not a lot of juice. So you think Darren Waller would be the better bet for multiple touchdowns than Ollie Gordon?
Yeah, I think so. Because even the idea that Ollie Gordon down in the red zone goal line situation, I know that they like to punch it in with Ollie Gordon, but they also like to punch it in with Devon Achan. And they're going to feed Devon Achan, Tobin, if they get the chance.
Achan's over-under on rushing today is 79.5. You heard Omar. He's about 100 away from getting 1,000 yards. Ollie Gordon, his over-under on rushing is 21.5 at plus 100. If you wanted to throw that in, so if you feel like Ollie Gordon, if they're going to lean more into him with how things have been going.
I don't think they will. Tobin, how do you feel this game is going to play out? I think that's the question here, because I'm kind of approaching this as the Dolphins at home, coming off the bye week. They have an opponent that they should suffocate in their home building. I think they're going to run away with this one. I think they end up winning by double digits. That's just my personal gut feeling. Am I falling into this trap with the Dolphins? Probably, because I felt the same way against the Washington Commanders. But this one, that was in Madrid, neutral site game, overseas. This one, you're at home against a really bad team.
Off a bye, and you're off a bye.
Correct. And in that case, I feel like you could have a 30-point performance here from the offense. And in that case, yeah, maybe, you spread the wealth a little bit. Ollie Gordon touchdown, Devon Achan touchdown. Maybe Tua gets a throw for one today as well. That's how I'm feeling.
Yeah, I get you. What about on defense? Do you think that anybody you think with this rookie out there, you like anybody getting a pick or anything like that? Like a Rasul Douglas interception, Jack Jones plus 500 for an interception today. Minka is plus 600. Same as Rasul Douglas. You think any of those guys get their hands on the football today from the young QB?
Yeah, I like Minka. Minka making a play. He's been playing much better football. I like Minka Fitzpatrick making a play. You're kind of just you're closing your eyes and trying to hit a bullseye with that.
A little bit.
The sacks are very interesting to me because Bradley Chubb is at minus 125, but Zach Sealer, he's got 1 sack this season, Tobin. Are you riding with your guy, Zach Sealer? Chop Robinson, we've been talking about him needing to come up big, plus 200. I kind of lean that over an interception.
Yeah, I don't love any of those. I don't know. I'm not. It's kind of hard to peg. I kind of like. I'm more intrigued. Like I feel like Jack Jones being in the zone of like getting a pick. I kind of like. I'm feeling that a little bit more with this type of play here today. I don't know. Jalen Waddle, 4.5 catches is his over-under for today. Malik Washington, 2.5 at minus 145. Darren Waller, 2.5 catches, plus 100. I feel like I got to throw that into something. He's going to have more than 2 catches.
Yeah. I think I kind of like that one. I'm thinking of betting maybe Darren Waller over 2.5 catches, Devon Achane over his rushing total, which is at 79.5, and the Dolphins to cover the spread of -5. I think, Tobin, I think that's what I'm leaning towards right now. But I don't know, I don't know. You don't sound too confident in the Dolphins. Not that they're not going to win this game, but you just sound too confident like where I'm at, which is that the Dolphins are going to have some sort of commanding performance today in this football game.
It's not that I'm not comfortable. I think that I think it can happen. It's just they just scare me in their consistency. But I think that you lay out a lot of reasons why it should be that way. I think I'm more nervous about the offense being able to produce and be consistent. But look, you're going to lean into a game where Devon Achane is going to get the ball more. Like, he's been your best player.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. He's having an incredible season. So there's nothing wrong with that. I think every team probably goes into these games and be like, oh, we're going to sell out. We're going to get Devon Achane. But he's so shifty. You can use him so many different ways that it's tough for teams to just take him away and shut him down. And like Omar was saying, they've found something with this Brunskill package, which the huge package is not only inappropriate, it's a terrible name. You can't call it the huge package. It needs to be called something else. All right. And that has nothing to do with, what Brunskill's packing. It's good for the Dolphins. I mean, that's great. Good for him. Good for the Brunskill name. But it needs a cooler name than that.
It does. It does.
I don't know. I don't know what that is, but Dolphins, you need to do better than the Dolphins referring to it as the huge package.
The huge package. Isn't Mike McDaniel a genius? Shouldn't he have better synonyms?
Yeah, we need something better. It needs a little bit more pizzazz than huge package. But we saw last week, Mike McDaniel, his package was too huge because he was trying to run for touchdowns that he had no business running for. He should have just taken the 3 points.
3 points. He needed an adequate package, an average package. Sometimes average is going to do the job.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's just a regular little package. You don't need a huge package sometimes. Sometimes you just need a field goal.
I've lived my entire life understanding that average will get the job done. Okay.
Right.
And Mike McDaniel,
sometimes
I respect it, but yeah.
I respect it too, but you know what? Sometimes you just need a chip shot. All right. You don't need a huge package. So I'm just saying, Mike McDaniel, just keep that in mind today against the Saints. Like, if it gets down to brass tacks, just taking the lead against them. You put the ball back in the hands of a rookie QB. I think there's nothing wrong with that. Just keep it in mind. Keep it in mind. You always got to knock it out of the park. Just knock it between the uprights.
Hey, by the way, the Saints, because I was just looking at Riley Patterson props, and the Saints cut their kicker a week ago and brought in Charlie Smith. So here's the deal with this Charlie Smith guy. It's pronounced Smith, but it's spelled with a Y instead of an I. And I just can't trust anybody whose name is Smith and it's spelled with a Y instead of an I, and it's not pronounced Smythe, it's pronounced Smith. He's at plus 120 to hit over 1.5 field goals. And you can't bet the under on that, Tobin, unfortunately. But I do like Riley Patterson over 1.5 field goals today. I'm riding with my guy, Riley Patterson.
That is your guy. You have built and upheld the Riley Patterson fan club all by yourself, and props for that, my friend. I got the Julian Hill. You got the Riley Patterson.
Yes, sir.
We'll take a break here on Game Day Uncensored, give some final thoughts, predict the game ball, and we're back with more after this.
Scott Graham here from Westwood One. Sunday Night Football.
The pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's game day, uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Your Miami Dolphins getting set to take on the New Orleans Saints. Let's get to our play to watch and predict the game ball, which is brought to you by your Southern Lexus dealers. And the Lexus December Remember sales event. Get offers on select models for a limited time. Learn more at Lexus.com. Solana, let's predict the game ball for today. If the Dolphins are to get a win, who are you going with, buddy?
Can I go with Devon Achane again? Can I
Sure.
do that? Can I just do that every single week?
I mean, it's not very original, but it's safe.
What about the offensive line? Can I do a game ball for the entire offensive line as a unit today? We'll see if Austin Jackson ends up starting. It looks like he's going to end up starting, but it's funny because people were pointing out on the text line and on our stream chat that I started our Porpoise Prop segment by saying bet all the unders, and then I talked myself into betting pretty much multiple touchdowns by different players and the Dolphins running away with this one and scoring 30 or more points, which very hypocritical by me. But I do think in this game, Tobin, you have to run the football and you got to lean on just the ground game in general. And it's going to require the offensive line continuing some of the success that they've been showing over the past couple weeks. So if the Dolphins do win this game and they win it the way I think they're capable of winning it, it'll be the offensive line and Austin Jackson, welcome back, putting together a quality performance, which means Mike McDaniel, the Oprah of game balls, will have plenty of game balls to hand out.
He really does love game balls. He loves giving them out.
Loves it.
I'm going to go with Darren Waller. I feel like Darren Waller has a big comeback game today. I feel like he is going to make his mark. I feel like he's had time to rest. I feel like the Dolphins are going to go to him. I feel like Tua likes throwing to him. And I feel like they're getting right back to giving Darren Waller the football a lot today. I think that is that's what I'm feeling. And I hope that is the case. So I'm going to go with Darren Waller. Dan Day, who do you think has a big game for the Miami Dolphins here today?
Bradley Chubb.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, getting after that bad offense, getting after Tyler Shuck. Not a quick decision maker. He likes to get happy feet sometimes. And I think Bradley Chubb's going to be coming off the edge and making a big difference today.
I like it. That would be nice. He's had a pretty nice season so far for the Miami Dolphins. What interests you here, Solana, on this 1:00 slate here today? We got Browns and 49ers, Shedeur Sanders back in the fold. You got the Jags and Titans. Cam Ward, has had a rough season, a rough go of it. The Colts, they gotta kind of fend off the Texans in this maybe tighter contested AFC South than we thought. You got the Cardinals and Bucks. You got the Rams, who are killing it right now on the road in Carolina. Jets and Falcons. What do you like? What intrigues you today?
Yeah, Tyler Warren's going to play for Indianapolis, by the way. For those of you still setting your fantasy lineups, that's big for the Colts. I think that game is interesting just because the Texans are also on the outside looking in of a possible playoff spot, and they have some impressive victories, right? The last time we saw them, they were kicking the Bills' ass. So that was just impressive overall. But, man, if Shedeur Sanders can beat the 49ers at home, like the media storm that's going to fire, that's going to result in that is going to be great. And I'm here for that. Like, I'm just here for chaos in Cleveland. And I would like to see him have a good game for the Browns at home against the 49ers.
Are they then in the hunt? If they win, because that would be the same record as the Bengals. Does that declare them in the hunt?
They're right behind the Bengals, fourth in the AFC North, but right behind the Bengals. It'd be 4-8. They would be technically in the hunt graphic. The Jets today with a loss would officially be eliminated from playoff contention. They would be the first team eliminated officially from playoff contention. Even though the Titans are 1-10, the Titans with a win could still technically stay alive in the division. So a Jets loss today eliminates them from playoff contention. They'd be the first team, which I'm also rooting for.
Yeah, of course. I mean, well, like they knew when they were trading everybody they traded that the Jets were heading in this direction, trading Sauce, trading Quinn Williams. But if Shador Sanders like actually gets Browns fans to start thinking about being in the hunt, that just kind of shows you the muck right now that is the AFC. It is really like, it's weird. I don't really know who to believe in because I don't even know if I believe in the Patriots. I don't.
Hey Tobin, if you look right now at the highest odds to win the Super Bowl or to win the Super Bowl, the top 3 seeds in the AFC right now aren't even in the top 10 in terms of winning the Super Bowl. Like, nobody believes in the Patriots yet. I think people like the Patriots and they think Vrabel and Drake May are going to be great, but nobody believes in them to actually compete for the AFC title or to win the AFC title. Nobody's buying the Colts because of Daniel Jones, even though they've been an awesome story. Nobody's buying the Broncos because Bo Nix doesn't seem reliable enough. Like, it's still the Bills and it's still the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, and I can't really argue with it. I just, even though I think the Chiefs, they just, you're always you're gonna give them the rub just because of how successful they've been.
Right.
But
yeah,
it is crazy to think, like, if the Dolphins get this done today, yeah, you can't really ignore it because it is a little bit of a why not the Dolphins. There's not really a good reason other than how bad it was earlier in the year and some of the embarrassing losses that they've had in the year. But I think that's why today would go a long way to put it. This isn't college, but it would do well for them to not only win, but do some stop wins. If the Dolphins win another 16-13 tussle, like, okay, but you're really, really not going to believe in them. I don't care what their record is.
Yeah, there's no shot. No shot. If the Dolphins don't win this, anybody believes in them. Tobin, this is the downside of the Thanksgiving week slate in the NFL. All the good games get played on Thursday because you're kind of just looking at the matchups today. Dolphins, Saints, Texans, Colts. Like I told you, I think it has some juice, but it's not, like a marquee matchup. Falcons, Jets, Niners, Browns, Rams, Carolina Panthers. I think the LA Rams are as legit as any team in the NFL. But like, are you running to your TV set to watch Carolina host the LA Rams? No. The Jaguars and the Titans, stinker. Cardinals, Buccaneers, stinker.
Bill Steelers is interesting, obviously. I mean, like that's going to have that's is that Romo's game? Oh, he loves Josh Allen.
Is that the Romo?
I don't know. I just assume. I'm like, is he doing 2 this week? Because he did Thanksgiving. Maybe he gets the week off. I don't know how that works.
Nah, he probably is doing 2.
Oh, Jim. And then you got, of course, Aaron Rodgers playing with his broken wrist.
Oh, he's gonna eat that up.
Oh, he's gonna milk that for sure. And you got to do some scouting to check that out. I think that Sunday night's not great. You got Broncos and Commanders. That's not a great game.
Yeah,
that's not a great game. And then Patriots,
Vikings, Seahawks at 4:05 is fine. Like, the Seahawks are good, but they're not great. And then who knows what the Vikings are going to put on the field every single week. Like, their defense is going to hang in there, but that might be the worst offense in the entire NFL.
I just need, look, if you're Mike McDaniel today, don't go out there and outthink yourself. Okay. I know that brain of yours, very powerful. Okay. And sometimes it hums a little too much. And I just think that sometimes, Mike McDaniel, you need to just take the smart, easy thing to do. I'm not all for you, not having the wheelbarrow package like you do sometimes. Maybe that's what they should call it, the wheelbarrow package, the Brunskill.
Sign me up.
I'm all for you doing that, but let's not get crazy, okay? I'm hopeful that this doesn't come down to just one decision with you. I'm hopeful that you can go out there and, show yourself a little bit. I think that would be impressive for the Dolphins to do that. But I don't know what to expect from them. I'm still a little bit like Omar says they play down to their competition. I think that's kind of the sign of a mediocre team.
Yeah, but I just think this game is, and I've said it a couple times, this is McDaniel's wheelhouse today. I know the conditions aren't great, but it's supposed to clear up a little bit at some point. It's a 1 p.m. game, Tobin, at Hard Rock Stadium on a Sunday. This is the game that the Dolphins win against a really bad football team. Throughout the entire Tua McDaniel era, this is the game that they go win, and they handle their opponent. And I know this year's been different, and they haven't been able to really do that. You can't lean on them to do that. But if there's ever a time to get back to it, it's today against the Saints.
Yeah, because if it does, because we were talking about like the idea that this is going to be a pretty positive vibe, but like if they did get off to, here's the thing though, if it doesn't start smooth right off the bat, a happy crowd could turn hostile real quick. Like I don't think that everybody's just completely forgiven and forgotten. So like if the Dolphins have a couple of sketchy drives, then you can get a pretty antsy fan base all of a sudden. You know, it gets to one of those things like, you know, you're having this expectation, oh, we're taking on the lowly Saints. They're basically tanking. So if it doesn't look like that fresh out of the gate, dominant right off the bat, then all of a sudden people get a little antsy. They get a little squirrely, Solana. So you got to keep that in mind as well.
You're saying there could be some boo birds if at the end of the first quarter this is a 3-3 game?
It's a rightfully right now on edge fan base. So that's all I'm saying is, yeah, I get it. This does feel like things are riding high right now, but I'm hopeful the Dolphins can just come out and hit some haymakers early just to get everybody eased up a little bit. I guess that's what I'm saying. I don't want this to be one of those where it's like, you know, you're up 6-3. In going into the half, and then it's like all of a sudden, you know, they get the ball back and they can go up. It's like, oh, all right, here we go.
The fans have sat through a monsoon all morning. They drove through a monsoon to get to the stadium. They couldn't tailgate. Their barbecue ribs were all spoiled because of the rain. And now you're going to deliver some 6-3 first half action in typical Dolphin style, where there's like 2 turnovers and the Saints are just hanging around despite doing nothing. I could see the boo birds coming out. But again, Tobin, I'm remaining optimistic. I don't think that's going to happen today. I really don't. Coming off the bye week, Sunday, 1 p.m. This is the Dolphins window here. I really believe that. Like,
you think we can have a Falcons type game?
I think this is the game that inspires hope. This is the game that makes you believe for the inevitable big letdown at the end of the season. Like, this is the one that's going to inflate our egos, bring cocky Dolphins back, have some wandering eyes say, why not the Dolphins? This is the one.
I hope so. I hope that's the case. For those who want to react to it today, Dan, you have a post-game edition coming your way 4:00 today.
It is at 4:00, or it could be sooner. If someone gets crazy in the game or the game ends early, as soon as the game ends, we start. But it's usually around 4:00.
Well, what would entail crazier? Like, I assume that would be negative on the negative side. So, like, if things get crazy on the negative side, or if the Dolphins are, like, on the positive, it would have to be, like, record-breaking. Like, what would be crazy?
Right. Like maybe someone that has a recurring injury gets another injury, or the Dolphins get run out of the stadium, or, I don't know, just Mike McDaniel quits on the job, something like that. Anything that goes, absolutely bonkers, we're going to just bust up and take over.
That is great. The idea of, like, if they did somehow end up blowing this one, like, you know how they always have the inevitable, what was your conversation with Stephen Ross? He's just like, do you think Stephen Ross would even bother? Like, hey, you lost to the Saints, dude. What the hell happened?
What do we
like?
Is that? Oh man, what do we? What
do we even say? What do I say to you at this point, Mike? What do you want me to say? It could be the one that does put him back on the hot seat. There is that. There is that possibility, because it does. Like, I agree that he's probably feeling as safe as he's been. But if you lose to the Saints after what happened in Spain, then I think we're back at square one with him.
You are. It's funny how we're teetering on, hey, this team could win 4 in a row and be a playoff team.
Very fragile.
Or, hey, they're about to go out there and for the second consecutive game, coming off a bye week in between, look absolutely awful and everything could come crashing down. It's very funny how the line is that thin in the NFL.
It is. And that's why that's why I think you're hoping that today's an inspired game. Like, I don't want it to be one of these dumpster, they squeaked it out, they're keeping the wins going, let's see the machine hum a little bit. Let's see Devon Achane cook, but let's see Jalen Waddle get loose. Let's see Darren Waller get going. And then let's see the defense feast on a young QB. Let's see if the defense has finally meshed into something. Let's see Kenneth Grant have some big impact plays. Maybe Charles Robinson has a big time performance. Like, I would like to see it just all kind of come together today. Then you can get cocky a little bit and start thinking about what the rest of the year will be.
By the way, Joe Shad just tweets out, as the Dolphins take the field, it is still raining.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, we're all set up for it. We appreciate everybody for tuning in today to Game Day Uncensored. And again, if you guys missed any of the program, you guys, you missed out. I don't know how much you'd want to listen to a podcast or go back and watch YouTube on a pregame show. That's a little weird, but not going to tell you how to spend your days or your time. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Dan Day will have your post-game coverage coming up today around 4 o'clock. You guys can listen to it here on QAM, or you can watch it, of course, on YouTube and Twitch. And we will talk to everybody tomorrow on our respective shows. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Go Dolphins, and we'll talk to you next time.
And that's the end of another Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show